Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice. We are here at Yankee Stadium, the home of the hottest team in baseball right now. The Yankees looking to complete a 4-game sweep of the Tampa Bay Rays. The Yankees already 90 wins on the season, 40 games over 500, comfortably on top in the American League East. Tampa Bay 8.5 back of Boston in the wild card race. Texas, by the way, won today. They're keeping the heat on the Red Sox just a game and a half out. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman, Oral Hershiser, and Steve Phillips with you here in the Bronx. Oral, let's start with you, and let's start with the Yankees. Jabba Chamberlain on the mound tonight. A daily topic of conversation still, the Jabba rules. What's up?
Well, every organization tries to protect their young and valuable arms, and Jabba is no different. But with the Yankees, they're called the Jabba rules. And for him, he had 112 innings 2 years ago. 100 innings last year, was shut down in August with shoulder tendonitis. This year, he's up to 136. They're trying to get him to 160. For me, you do it with logic and experience, but under this microscope in New York, it is Jabba rules. And for him, he's done well. They're protecting his arm. He's healthy, but he needs to rule on the mound of late.
So limited innings tonight, we assume, for Jabba Chamberlain, and maybe 4, who knows, depending on how the game goes. Now, for the Rays, a few weeks ago, Steve, they were right in this thing. The defending American League champions look poised for a run. What's gone wrong?
Well, a season that started with great expectations after going to the World Series last year. They got off to a slow start, then they got themselves back into the race. And on August 5th, they were within striking distance of the American League East and in the heat of the wild card race in the American League. But since then, everything has gone wrong. The starting pitching has missed on all cylinders. The offense hasn't been getting it done, and the bullpen has been dismal. They've lost 7 games in a row coming into play tonight. The bullpen 0-5 in those 7 games, and they've only scored 19 runs in those 7 games. So no margin for error for the pitching. The pitching isn't getting it done, and the defense, which was so special last year, has let them down this year. So they're running out of hope this season, but the hope is there on the mound. Jeff Neiman, 12 wins this year, tied for the most of any rookie pitcher. He's a big part of the hope for the future for the Tampa Bay Rays.
So a very cold team in the Rays, a very hot team in the Yankees, in a town here in the Bronx where so much history has been made over the years by various Yankee greats. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, of course, holds the all-time franchise hit record. Derek Jeter is trying to join that group. 3 hits to tie, 4 to pass Lou Gehrig for the Yankees' all-time hit record. One of the subplots as we get ready for baseball here tonight.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball is presented by Smirnoff Ice. Please drink responsibly. And in part by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated for men. And Hyundai Assurance, a little certainty in uncertain times. Find out more at Hyundai.com.
From the hustle and bustle of Grand Central Station in Midtown Manhattan, we bring you out to the Bronx now, Yankee Stadium. Final game of the series between the Yankees and the Rays, with the Yankees winning the first 3, including a doubleheader on Monday, as they look to improve upon what is already the best record in baseball at 90 wins and only 50 losses on the season. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay, they are just 5 games over 500. They have lost 7 in a row. Offensively, the numbers look pretty good. Pitching looks pretty good, but they have managed to lose a lot of close games in the last couple of weeks, and that has been their biggest problem, losing late. A look at the Jack Daniels starting lineup right now for Tampa Bay, featuring one of the best young talents in all of baseball.
Well, we saw the offensive.
Bartlett will lead it off for the Rays and take up an in-ball 1.
Well, the expectation today would be to see him go about 4 innings.
What a season for Bartlett, 4th in the American League in batting at .331. Missed 3 weeks with a bad ankle, but still has 13 homers, 60 RBIs. This was a guy last year who, with much more average numbers, was voted the MVP of the Rays. He has had a sensational season this year. Fastball inside again, 2 balls and a strike.
And really, last year, Joe Madden and the Rays front office credited Bartlett for being the leader of this team, but not because of his offensive production, but because he changed the mindset defensively. He improved them at shortstop, and Aki Iwamura going to second base and Longoria at third made a difference.
Now a high fly ball sent to deep left field. Damon is back, jumping, and Bartlett hits it out. First batter of the night takes Jabba Chamberlain deep.
Right-handed hitters are predominantly high fastball hitters. Jabba Chamberlain over his last 6 starts or so has not been able to get his fastball down in command. That ball is over the middle of the plate, about mid-thigh. It's not real high, but it's definitely centered, and Bartlett centered that one to the left field bleachers.
So Tampa Bay, which has scored only 4 runs in the first 3 games of this series against the Yankees. They start early tonight on the home run by Bartlett. As you can see, has increased his power dramatically this season. The batter now is Carl Crawford, the #2 base stealer in the majors, behind only Jacoby Ellsbury of the Boston Red Sox. Breaking ball just misses outside of the knees. 2 balls and a strike as Chamberlain falls behind another Tampa Bay hitter. Another very solid season for Crawford, his 3rd in a row, should he keep the average where it is, of a better than 300 average and better than 50 stolen bases. Pretty good stuff.
I mean, an outstanding athlete, and he's one of the guys that really has led this team and the catalyst to this offense. And I think a question mark for their organization as they move forward. He's a guy that is going to be at free agency fairly soon. He's making close to $10 million next year. And for a small market team, they've got a number of players that are making a lot of money they're going to have to make some decisions on. Part of the reason why they traded Scott Kazmir to the Los Angeles Angels. We talked to Joe Matt a little bit about that. Pat Burrell, they got a chunk of money, about $9 million, $10 million next year. Some decisions to make with personnel and payroll for this organization moving forward.
Again, the 2-2. And the fastball is lined into left field. A solid base hit for Crawford. So a rough beginning for Jabba Chamberlain as we check out the defense behind the right-hander tonight here in the Bronx. We've already seen Johnny Damon out in left field. Brett Gardner is in center. Nick Swisher, the hero of last night's game, is in right field for the Yankees. Alex Rodriguez at third. Derek Jeter at short. Robinson Cano at second. And Mark Teixeira gets a lot of the credit for the improved defense by the Yankees this year. Jose Molina giving Jorge Posada a night off behind the plate. Well, how long will it take Crawford until he gets going? Breaking ball in for a strike to Evan Longoria. Longoria had that hamstring problem in the middle of the season, really slowed him down for a while, and still look at these numbers. 30 homers already, including one last night. Second to Mark Teixeira in RBIs in the American League. 41 doubles for Longoria with a few weeks left to go.
Overall, I watch Jabba Chamberlain, and the question that keeps coming to my mind is, where did his fastball go? He was a guy that threw 97, 98, 99 miles per hour as a reliever. And I understand that stuff plays down a little bit as a starter, but it's played way down.
Yeah, and it's really never been able to reach back and go to 98. You would think that it would play down consistently, and then every once in a while in a jam or a 3-2 pitch when you know fastball's coming but you want to just throw it by somebody, you clock it back up there, but it is not there. I'll tell you what, the biggest differential for me as a starter and reliever for him is when it's not 98, the differential between his fastball and his slider. Those 2 pitches, which are his 2 main pitches, are close together, and the hitter does not have to worry about controlling the barrel of the bat anymore. Both the fastball and the slider, since it's only 6 to 8 miles an hour apart, both are going to be hard hit fair balls.
You look at the innings pitched for Jabba Chamberlain over the last couple of years. So he has thrown more innings already this year than he ever has before. The original plan was to limit him to 140. Then that was subsequently revised to 160. But because of that, he got out of the gate regular starter, throwing a lot of innings. They've had to slow him down here at the end of the season. But then what kind of shape is he going to be in going into the postseason? And will he be a starter or a reliever in the playoffs? Longoria strikes out, and taking second on the pitch as it skips away from Molina is Carl Crawford.
I don't know if that's a wild pitch or pass ball, but it sure looked like a pass ball to me. The ball looked like it had enough height. For me, with Jabba Chamberlain, as we look at the replay, I would say with Jabba, though, the thing I think about, every organization is sometimes it's 30, no more than 30 innings more, no more than 20% more as far as workload of pitches and innings. The Yankees are really walking on fine line because they have Jabba rules, but they're going 60 innings just in the regular season over last year. I mean, that's 60% or 60 innings or whatever you want to call it. So they've tried to curtail his workload to protect a young, valuable arm. But the Jabba rules seem to adjust all the way from spring training to now. We've probably heard about 3 or 4 different sets.
Crawford at second, one out. A run in on the home run by Jason Bartlett. Jeter trying to keep Crawford close as Ben Zobrist steps in. A nice story for the Rays this year, an all-star, hitting .282, 23 homers, playing 6 different positions, although the vast majority of the time has been either at second base or right field.
And batting fourth is Carlos Pena, the first baseman, hit in the hand with a pitch and broke a couple of fingers. Done for the rest of the year. So a revamped lineup for Joe Maddon to try to generate some offense, as Pena was one of the guys that was actually swinging the bat well during this losing streak.
Now Pena leads the American League in home runs with 39. The Yankees' Mark Teixeira is second with 35. But Joe Maddon has lost his #1 power hitter, a guy who had driven in 100 runs, a good fielder at first, and a guy who meant a lot to the rest of the team in the clubhouse as well. And 2 broken fingers. Pena's going to have surgery. He's going to be out for the season. So they've called up Chris Richard, a 35-year-old former Oriole, former Rocky. He is at first base tonight, but that is a big loss for the Rays. Bartlett was on the DL for a while. Iwamura was out for about 3 months. So like a lot of teams, Joe Maddon's Rays have dealt with their fair share of injuries this year. There goes Crawford. And no attempt by Molina, could not come up with it cleanly. Crawford steals third.
Well, Carl Crawford read slider on the pitch, and as the ball comes into the plate, Molina starts to move a little bit toward the base, but he doesn't get a grip on the ball. Crawford gets a good jump, quick acceleration. I mean, he just gets up to full speed so quickly. He tries to move in the slider. He just doesn't get the glove down far enough to have a chance to make a throw. Now, I think it had a tough time to make any sort of successful throw anyways because of the pitch.
And a strike taken, a full count on Zobrist. The infield remains back at this early juncture of the game for the Yankees. So Crawford singles, moves to second on a wild pitch, steals third, his 56th stolen base of the season. And now if Zobrist can hit a ground ball, the Rays will get another run. Rodriguez coming over for a look, but this will be back out of play. Well, so many things have gone wrong for the Rays recently as they have struggled in recent weeks. Through the first 3 months of the season, one of the best offensive teams in baseball, led the American League in runs scored at the end of June, and then a number of hitters started struggling, and their numbers have consistently gone down in the last couple of months. There's ball 4 to Zobrist. Joe Maddon said, I know the bullpen's getting all the blame right now. They've had some noticeable losses in the last week or 10 days. He said, but they've got to score more runs. They're just not giving the pitching staff enough offense to work with.
No margin for error. I mean, that's what you want to do, is to at least have some margin for error for your pitchers, so that if they do make a mistake, they have some room that you can still go hold on to a lead, but they just have not been able to give the staff any sort of support.
Well, they haven't given them support defensively either. So when your defense is down, you're not making the double plays, you're not making some plays that you used to make, especially last year. The defense was so glowing. A couple of things that hurts the pitching staff, the room to breathe as far as the runs, and then the defense.
Here's Pat Burrell, the DH, #5 hitter in the Rays lineup. This is a guy who has really not delivered all season long like they had hoped. They signed him to a big 2-year deal worth about $16 million, and for the Rays, that's big money. And you can see just a .232 average, just 13 home runs for Burrell, who did a lot more than that in a typical year in Philadelphia. Lines one into left field, a base hit here though, drives in a run as Crawford scores, and the Rays have an early 2-0 lead on a struggling Jabba Chamberlain.
Well, everything is center. When he has to throw a strike, it is not a quality pitcher's pitch. It is something in the middle of the plate, slightly up. They're pitches that you really don't want to pick on and say they're bad pitches, but there's not a high quality pitch yet. You see, that ball is just slightly up. It is on the corner, and you can say, oh, that's nitpicking because he threw the slider on the corner, but it was kind of average as far as depth and break, and it was slightly up. And 6 inches as far as height of a pitch in the big league level is a huge amount.
And the location of that pitch, he threw the first pitch fastball at 95 on the outside corner. He didn't want to break that ball to the outside corner. He wanted to start it on the outside corner and break it off of the plate. So it was actually a mistake pitch. Not a horrible pitch, but still a mistake pitch, especially following that first pitch fastball away.
So the pitch count is climbing for Chamberlain. The lead is increasing for the Rays. Still batting here in the top of the first. First and second, only one out. And Chamberlain will now face the first baseman tonight for Tampa Bay, Chris Richard. Richard, 35 years of age, spent the season at AAA where he hit 24 home runs. Prior to this week, had not been in the major league since 2003. And his most significant major league experience came with the Baltimore Orioles. Hit 15 home runs for the Orioles back in 2001. With the injury to Carlos Pena, with Pena done for the season, Richard will get some at bats. And now Chamberlain, clearly struggling, summons Jose Molina to the mound.
Or one of the things with Jabba Chamberlain that you notice, the velocity's not there, but it sure seems like he's throwing all four-seam fastballs. His fastball looks straight. A lot of times we see pitchers with tailing action. There's no real life to his fastball.
Yeah, we're really talking about somebody that, without being in New York and without the splash that he made when he first came on the scene, has very average stuff right now. And location is at a premium when you have average big league stuff. There is nothing electric going on here.
Swing and a miss by Richard, 1-1.
Now, what about the mental factor here? I mean, you've got a guy who is starting, but he knows he's got a leash on him. He knows he's going to maybe go 4 innings in this game. Does it affect him mentally that he's not able to be a starting pitcher in his mind when he's out there?
I would think that his arm would play up, though, because you have the shorter time span that you're going to be out there and think that you're going to, can empty the tank every inning. You don't have to worry about pitching on fumes or reaching that hump inning in the 4th or 5th inning when you know you're now going to be a little tired until you get your second wind and move on. And, there's nobody that works harder than there's nobody wants it more than Jabba. It just seems like in this spotlight right now and the lack of production over the last 6 starts, there's some pressure out there.
93-mile-an-hour fastball to strike him out. 2 down. Nothing fancy there to get Chris Richard.
Well, the reason you have not really made a significant impact in the big leagues is usually probably a slow bat for a big left-handed hitter like that. That's a long swing, and 90 to 93, which were the 3 pitches that Jabba threw that got by him, were all elevated, and you can get it by a lower quality hitter.
So 2 on, 2 out, 2 runs in, and here's the 7th hitter to come to the plate for the Rays here in the first inning. Right fielder Gabe Gross hitting .243. Just 191 though in his last 48 games. One of the Tampa Bay hitters who has been struggling, as we told you about in the last 2 months or so, as the Tampa Bay offensive numbers have dipped from 1st in the league at the end of June to 4th overall in runs per game right now. The Yankees have blown by everybody. They got the best offense around right now. There's a good slider right there. 0-2. I showed you the early numbers. Now look at this. Since the 1st of July, the worst batting average in the league in the bottom half of runs scored and slugging. Just one of the many things that's gone wrong for the Rays here in the last couple of months. Yankee fans now getting behind Jabba Chamberlain, trying to see if he can get out of this without any further damage. Just outside, velocity notably though, or up to 95.
An out-pitch fastball that he can really cut loose. Knows he's just going to the outer half in an 0-2 count.
Check swing on that slider. He offered it the other one, but laid off that one.
Well, that's the pitch right there that Joe Madden was worried about for his left-handed hitters. That slider that Jabba Chamberlain can bury down to the back foot of the left-handed hitter. Very difficult pitch to lay off of. You think it's a fastball, you start to commit. You think it's a good low fastball, and then it breaks down out of the zone. And it's the one that he was concerned about for his lefties.
Zobrist at second, Burrell at first. 2-2 pitch. There's strike 3 called as Chamberlain does record 3 strikeouts in the inning, but he gives up a couple of runs, including a home run to Jason Bartlett. When we come back, Derek Jeter with another shot of moving closer to Lou Gehrig, 3 back of the Iron Horses Yankee franchise record for most hits. The Yankees will come up down 2-0. The Yankees coming up at the bottom of the first, trailing the Rays 2-0. Derek Jeter will lead it off For the Yankees, as we take a look, Steve, at the starting lineup for the Yankees, presented by Jack Daniels.
The most potent offense in the major leagues. And how about 7 guys with 20 or more home runs? But how about Derek Jeter, 4 hits away from breaking Lou Gehrig's record that has been in place for the New York Yankees for 72 years and a couple of days. And a guy that's loved by Yankee fans, and look for him to be very aggressive on the first pitch. He loves first pitch fastball. Jeff Neiman throws a lot of first pitch fastballs.
Jeter right now in his longest over of the season, 0 for 12. Does not have a hit in this series yet against the Rays. Joe Girardi was asked, do you think Derek Jeter is pressing a little bit? And Girardi said, I don't know. I've never seen him press, so I don't know what it looks like. But it sure seems unlikely that a guy who has been through and accomplished as much as Jeter has would be pressing about anything. 3 hits from tying, 4 from breaking Lou Gehrig's franchise record. Thinking about a bunt for a base hit. $2,719.
What you learn from a very young age is when you're not swinging the bat well and you're striking out and you're not making contact, you try and use a bunt to get yourself back on track. Well, Derek Jeter at 35 years old is not beyond the common culture of baseball that I'm in a slump, I'll try and bunt.
You saw Derek Jeter's dad here at Yankee Stadium, as he has been for this entire series. This, by the way, is the last game of this homestand for the Yankees. So if Jeter doesn't have a big night tonight, then he's going to make a little history on the road. And of course, everybody here would love to see him do it at home. Now 2 back of the record that Lou Gehrig has held for more than 70 years. A threat to go. 24 steals on the season. The batter, Johnny Damon. And the count of 1-1.
Now we talk about the hits. Derek Jeter right now 299 career stolen bases. He needs 28 to break the franchise record in stolen bases held by Rickey Henderson. 326 for Rickey. So Jeter at some point will break that record as well.
And forgive me, I misspoke. The Yankees continue their homestand. Their next series is here against Baltimore. So Jeter's got a good stretch of home games coming in which to break the record. Ball and 2 strikes now the count. Jeff Neiman is on the mound for the Rays tonight, and one of the top rookies in the American League this year. 26 years of age, 6'9", one of the biggest guys in baseball right now, and has pitched extremely well, especially in the last couple of months for the Rays, and without question is in the American League Rookie of the Year conversation. He broke camp as the number 5 starter in the Rays rotation. He's got the most wins of anybody on the staff. Damon fights it off foul. What do you like about Neiman?
Oh, I love his poise. He's really built a great routine on the mound. At 6'9", he repeats his delivery. You're not going to be this consistent with 12 wins without doing that. And great angle. And the velocity of the fastball. He can touch 96 miles an hour, and he has an outstanding hammer. And it changes about 15 to 17 miles an hour sometimes when he throws that curveball. So he can control the bat and fool the hitter.
No, we don't see a lot of 6'9" pitchers in Major League Baseball. What are the challenges for a guy that big to be able to repeat his delivery?
Well, I think when you make a mistake with your timing and your rhythm and you're off a little bit, it's kind of relates back to like a tall golfer that, you know, you make that half-inch mistake in a golf swing down there by the club head, it's offline by 60 yards or 30 yards. Here, as a tall pitcher, you make that little mistake, it's a ball or it's right down the middle. So you have to be more accurate. You have to be stronger to repeat your mechanics just consistently down the hill and more accurately, because your misses are going to be farther off. I worked with Chris Young, who ended up, you know, going to San Diego from Texas when I was a pitching coach for Texas, and Chris had the same problem, but he threw a little bit more over the top with not as much velocity as Jeff. Jeff's got a long, looser arm, great action on the ball.
Neiman, part of a College World Series championship team at Rice. Wary of Jeter over at first base, and also trying to deal with Damon. There goes Jeter. And the pitch is swung on and missed by Damon, so he is out. But Jeter picks up his 25th stolen base of the season.
And as we said, 300th of his career. There's Derek's father. Watching him, see Derek get a good jump on that one. He peeks in to see if Johnny Damon makes contact. Head first slide with no throw coming down. See Deanna Navarro, that ball, he just, on the transfer, doesn't get rid of it quickly enough, juggles it, drops out of his throwing hand. And now Derek Jeter in scoring position.
So in the last 3 days, Jeter has passed Yogi Berra for third on the most games list by a Yankee. Picked up his 300th steal and now moved within 2 hits of Lou Gehrig. That's an eventful 72 hours. Here's Mark Teixeira. Jeter in scoring position with 1 down. The Yankees trailing 2-0 in the bottom of the first. Teixeira, the American League leader in RBIs with 106. And second in the league in home runs with 35. And as we mentioned, the #1 guy, Carlos Pena of Tampa Bay, is done for the year. So Teixeira has a chance to lead the league in home runs. His career high, by the way, is 43. He did that back with Texas. Shift is on, 3 on the right side, a gaping hole where the shortstop would normally be. Longoria, the third baseman, has to stay near third to prevent Jeter from just strolling over there.
You know, the great thing about Derek Jeter, the consistency over the years, but he puts the equation together of the whole game. He's got a 6'9", 260-pound pitcher. He goes for the bunt. He's got a guy that big on the mound with a little slow delivery. He goes for the steal. These aren't normal things that are part of his game at the age of 35. Bunt hits are not for 35-year-olds. Stolen bases are not for 35-year-olds. But you put it all together, and when he sees the occasion arise, he capitalizes on it. And that's where his consistency comes from. Not only his ability, but what he knows about the game and how to put the equation together.
Fastball down the middle, fouled back by Teixeira, and the count is full. Well, by all accounts, Jeter, he has more stolen bases this year than last. Everybody who's watched him on a regular basis this year, Steve, says his range defensively is better this year than last. He's hitting for a higher average. He's had a better year at 35 than he did at 34.
Well, there's a lot of criticism about Derek Jeter's defense. I mean, there's certain reports that say he was the worst defensive shortstop in the game, and he took that to heart.
Curveball for strike 3 call.
You just made the American League leader in RBIs flinch at the plate. This is done by the change in velocity, change in plane. That would be considered a bad pitch, a hanging curveball. But when it's coming off a mid-90s fastball and you drop all the way to 76, contrast that with Jabba Chamberlain trying to throw 91, 92, and then an 87 or 86 mile-an-hour slider, and the ball never breaks or comes off plane to the hitter to change his eye line. That's the difference between the two pitchers here tonight.
So Neiman struck out Damon on a changeup, struck out Teixeira on a curveball. Now Alex Rodriguez takes outside ball 1. Just joining us, Jason Bartlett homered off Jabba Chamberlain to lead off the game. The Rays got 2 in the first inning. Derek Jeter with a bunt single here to begin the bottom of the first for hit number 2,719. Back-to-back strikeouts by Neiman. And Alex Rodriguez now with a count of 2-0.
Well, the Yankees would love for Alex Rodriguez to catch fire right now and have some momentum heading into October and the playoffs, because everything right now to define Alex Rodriguez as a Yankee has to do with October baseball and very little to do with the regular season.
The funny thing is, though, with what Jeter is on the cusp of and the kind of season that Teixeira's had and the team is winning so much, never has Alex Rodriguez been in the headlines less than he has been in the last couple of months as a New York Yankee.
And that's a rocking chair he likes sitting in, I'll tell you that. He likes the attention, but it's kind of nice to take a rest from it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you know, it seems like there's been times in the past where he's kind of liked to be in the middle of everything and actually stirred it up himself for what, you know, whether on the field or off the field or whatever. And I think he's been in the shadows, but come October, the spotlight and the bright light's going to be shining at third base at number 13.
Well, I think a lot of times when he wanted that spotlight or maybe craved it was because it was all positive. And then once the negative came in and the spotlight of the negative came on in the press conferences and the performance enhancement drug and then the hip surgery and coming back from that, it's like, wow, you know, the spotlight ain't maybe all it's cracked up to be when it could be on the negative side. That guy has sure thrived here in the pinstripes.
Teixeira and CC Sabathia have gotten their fair share of the spotlight. First year Yankees. Derek Jeter, of course, always getting a lot of attention, and this year more than most. 3-2 pitch fouled back by A-Rod.
Well, the one thing we know is when Alex Rodriguez rejoined the team on May 8th, he made a big difference for Mark Teixeira personally and for the Yankees as a team. Their season turned when he came back in, and part of it was his production, but I think part of it was his presence and the expectation to the other team as to what Alex could do. And I think that as much as he's helped Mark Teixeira, Teixeira's performance has taken the pressure off of Alex Rodriguez to have to perform in the season.
Center field. Upton back, runs it down, and the inning is over. Jeter gets a hit, but the Yankees don't score, and at the end of one, the Rays lead 2-0. Join Major League Baseball and the people all-stars among us in your community by signing up to volunteer at MLBGoBeyond.com. Back here at Yankee Stadium, Dan Shulman, Orel Hershiser, Steve Phillips. Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Smirnoff Ice. The Rays 2 and the Yankees nothing going to the top of the second. A long first inning for Jabba Chamberlain. Had to throw a lot of pitches, gave up a home run to Jason Bartlett. Here's the number 8 hitter in the Tampa Bay lineup, Deoner Navarro. First pitch swinging, bouncer to first. Teixeira, Chamberlain, one down. But one of the issues about Jabba Chamberlain as you look ahead to October is, will he be in the playoff rotation? And one of the rules in baseball is the team that finishes with the best record in this case this year in the American League, and that should be the New York Yankees. They're well ahead of anybody else. They can choose which of the two schedules they want for the division series. One of them has one extra off day built in between games 1 and 2, and that would mean you could get through a series with only 3 starters without anybody having to pitch on short rest. Now, Joe Girardi, when he was asked about it yesterday, said, well, in one series you would need 3 starters, in one you would need 4, and that's all I'm going to say about that. He didn't say we're going to choose the 3. He didn't expand upon it, nor would you expect him to, as B.J. Upton fouls it off. But if they choose the longer series with the extra off day, then they can go just with Sabathia, Pettit, and Burnett if they so choose, and move Jabba Chamberlain into the bullpen, at least for the first round.
I think that would be the logical choice if I was the Yankees. Not only on quality, but also to protect Jabba's arm as far as the innings and the fatigue. And I think he's going to function better as a reliever.
Upton with a chopper foul up the first baseline.
Here's the problem you have. I mean, I don't disagree with you. That may be the best thing for the Yankees rotation. But they would likely, if it ends today, play the Detroit Tigers. If you go with 3 Detroit Tiger starters, you're going with Verlander, Edwin Jackson, and Jared Washburn, which means you're going to get Verlander twice, and Edwin Jackson may be backing up Washburn and in that other start as well.
Well, you'd get Verlander twice anyways, but now you're going to get Edwin Jackson.
You're going to get Edwin Jackson twice as well. And do you want to face that? Because I'll tell you what, those 2 guys have ERAs under 1.5 against the Yankees this year.
Bouncer back to the mound, and Upton retired 2 down.
And so I don't disagree with you that I would try to structure. It seems to me.
But it's not such a slam dunk.
But yeah, because I think it's not only who you're going to start, it's who the other team's going to start against you as well.
Right.
And here in no particular order, the way they line up in the Yankee rotation, Sergio Mitre, Chad Gaudin have both been starting at the back end of the rotation. Sabathia is pitching great right now. Andy Pettit is pitching great. A.J. Burnett just had a good one after several mediocre outings, but those 3 are obviously the big 3. CC Sabathia, of course, is a guy who has pitched on short rest a fair bit in his career. Did it for Milwaukee last year. Back to the top of the order now for Jason Bartlett. Now, if the Yankees were to get past the first round into the ALCS, then you can't use only 3 starters without somebody having to pitch on short rest. But as we all know, in the playoffs, it's a round by round decision. Sometimes in the playoffs, it's a game by game decision to find out what your pitching is going to look like.
Yeah, if you're in game 4 of a 7-game series, you're down 2-1, you may opt to bring your ace pitcher, your number 1 guy, back on short rest to try to live to another day or to get closer to balancing out the series.
Now, another factor in the, or let me ask you, if it's another factor in the equation, not only should Chamberlain be starting, do they need him in the bullpen in the playoffs? Is there a need for him there?
Well, with Phil Hughes doing what he's doing, I think there's a need, because the depth down there is absolutely amazing. When you can have that 6th inning covered for sure, and then the 7th and 8th with a quality guy, and then Mariano Rivera slam dunk, I think there is a need for him in the bullpen.
And I would say Probably not. I think that the one thing that the Yankees, and I credit Joe Girardi with doing a terrific job of this year. He has built the depth of his bullpen. I think there were a lot of questions of this team coming into the season. Who was the 8th inning guy? Phil Hughes stepped in there. Brian Bruni was thought to be him. Bruni's moved up earlier in the game, but Phil Koch has emerged. Alfredo Aceves has emerged as well. I mean, they have great depth in that bullpen right now. And I don't know what Jabba Chamberlain is as a reliever right now. Is he that guy? There's Phil Hughes right there, who's just completely taken over the 8th inning with some of the most dominating stuff in the major leagues right now. But Jabba Chamberlain as a reliever, I don't think he's that guy we saw last year. I mean, I have no reason to believe that's what he is, because when I see him as a starter for 3 innings, I don't see his stuff play up. So I don't know if that 98's even there anymore. I think they have enough depth in their bullpen that Jabba doesn't need to be there to have an impact in a playoff series.
Pretty much you think he might not see the ball very much.
He might be your long reliever.
Dribbler charged by Rodriguez, and out at first on a close play is Bartlett. Good play by A-Rod to end the inning as the Rays go in order here in the second. Another look going to break. The Rays continue to lead 2-0. The Yankees coming up when we come back. No team in baseball has hit more home runs this year than the New York Yankees. They have 7, count them, 7 players with 20 or more home runs on the season. That already ties a major league record. And Derek Jeter's got 17. They could get to 8 players with 20 or more home runs. Even Robinson Cano, a second baseman, he's had a big year. Jorge Posada still getting it done at 37 years of age. 1 through 9. A dangerous lineup here. The ballpark has helped, sure. More home runs at home than on the road for the Yankees, but they have proven once again to be the Bronx Bombers this year. And here's a guy who quietly has had a very good season. Swisher waiting on deck. Cano in the hole. Hideki Matsui leading off the inning for the Yankees. All kinds of knee problems early for Matsui, but great production and fewer than 400 at bats. He grounds out here for the first out as we send it back to Kevin Connors in the studio for a Sports Center right now.
Indeed, Dan, this Sports Center right now presented by Sprint. Nothing official from Coach Eric Mangini, but the Cleveland Plain Dealer reports Brady Quinn will start for the Browns at quarterback Sunday against Minnesota. Quinn was in competition with Derek Anderson all preseason. And World Cup qualifying on ESPN. Classic Team USA facing Trinidad and Tobago. Good chance in the early going. Charlie Davis lets her rip, but she's gobbled up. Next Sports Center comes your way at 1 a.m. Eastern, and Dan over on ESPN2. A good one, Melanie O'Dan in U.S. Open play.
O'Dan looking for her 4th consecutive upset win in the U.S. Open. Not that far from here, just out in Queens. Here's Nick Swisher. Swisher was the man last night. He hit 2 home runs for the Yankees, including a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th. The 13th walk-off win for the Yankees this year, the most in baseball. And it was a typical new Yankee Stadium home run. It got about 6 inches over the wall in right field. You know what? Nick Swisher couldn't have cared less.
His post-game interviews, he said, I don't care if we go 30 feet over the wall or 1 foot over the wall. It's over the wall. Home runs from both sides of the plate.
Pops it up in a very shallow center field. It'll be the shortstop, Bartlett. You know, and Swisher's the one guy who's actually done a lot more damage on the road. You think everybody's hitting all their home runs here. The 2 home runs Swisher hit here last night give him 5 here at Yankee Stadium. He's hit 21 on the road.
Really has made it. We talked about the 7 players with 20 or more home runs. Well, all 7 of those players also have over 70 RBIs. Derek Jeter is close in both of those categories, in both the home runs and RBIs as well, as we talked about. So, you know, the Yankees lineup in my mind is a circular lineup. There's no beginning and end. Whoever leads off the inning has a good on-base percentage, and whoever follows can handle the bat. They can hit and run, and they can hit it out of the ballpark and drive in runs. They're all the same guy. Yeah. It's just 1 through 9. They're all the same hitter. Now tonight, you know, Jose Molina, a little bit different player than Jorge Posada, but you know, the rest of the lineup, they all can get the job done with the bat in their hand.
And this guy's a perfect example. Robinson Cano, 23 homers, 41 doubles. Hitting in the number 7 spot in the lineup. He's 7th in the American League in batting and 7th in his own team's batting order. Johnny Damon, virtually identical numbers. Same with Matsui. You've got all of these guys with 23 or 24 homers, 76 RBIs. And again, the ballpark has helped, but these guys have had a great offensive season, home and away.
Kind of reminds me of the team I played for with Cleveland Indians in 1995. Omar Vizquel, Kenny Lofton, Manny Ramirez, Jim Thome, unbelievable. Paul Sorrento, Albert Bell. It just kept going and going and going. Eddie Murray was there. It was an absolutely amazing offensive machine, and that's what this Yankee team is like. Alex played on a team down there in Texas with Rafael Palmeiro and Juan Gonzalez. Pudge Rodriguez was pretty deep. They didn't have CC Sabathia and AJ Burnett and the pitching down there in Texas when Alex was there.
Well, we talk about all the come from behind wins that this Yankee team has, and part of that is that today's game, many games are decided by middle relief. And this lineup pounds middle relievers. They tend to be the lesser pitchers on every pitching staff. Your best are at the front of the game or at the end of the game. The middle of the game is where your lesser pitchers are. And this is a lineup that even if they're behind, they can come back and erase just about any deficit.
Full count on Cano. Most comeback wins in baseball this year, most walk-off wins in baseball. How about this stat? They've been tied after 7 innings 15 times this year. They've won all 15 games.
Wow. Well, that's great offense and pitching.
Cano, deep center field. Upton can't make the catch. Cano is on his way to third. Did he misread it? Was he too casual about it? It was hit hard, but it's a catchable ball that Upton misplayed.
Casual is sometimes commonplace in the big leagues because everybody catches it no matter how they approach it. It looks bad when it doesn't happen. And right there, B.J. Upton kind of gets caught in between. He's got enough speed to get to the ball. He's a little bit shy, maybe because he's in the middle of the warning track. And then he just took his eye off it, and it almost flat out missed it. He almost airballed it.
Now, where his head was and where his glove was, he couldn't track the ball. Those final, that final foot and a half really, and hit off the heel of the glove.
It'll go as a 3-base error on B.J. Upton. So the inning continues, and Brett Gardner takes a strike. Upton is such an enormously talented guy, but he's had a very difficult season in a number of respects, as you see it again, hitting off the heel of his glove. Upton is hitting only .237, striking out a lot, not hitting for a lot of power, and has really regressed from where he was a year ago. Hey, we walked into Joe Madden's office before the game, and his hair is jet black now. He has, whatever he's doing, he has dyed his hair.
Are you saying he's doing something?
Well, he's dyed his hair black, but a couple more plays like that, it's going to be back to white again before the end of the night.
But just a stronger dye.
It's the fish oil, I understand. So that's what's doing it.
That's what he recommends.
Yankee center fielder Brett Gardner waiting for the 0-2 pitch, and he slams it down to third on a bounce. Longoria back up with it and on to first. Good play to end the inning. So the error doesn't hurt. The Rays still lead 2-0.
September 13th will change the way you watch football. Every Sunday, every team, every exciting moment is caught live inside the Red Zone. NFL Red Zone, a new way to watch football. Available on Dish Network. Call now.
Take a look at your favorite shows on Dish Network and DirecTV. Are nature shows any more natural on DirecTV just because you pay more for them? Dish Network gives you the same shows with the same reliability for less. Dish Network. Why would you ever pay more for TV?
Are you paying more than $1.70 a month for phone service?
EA Baseball, presented by Murphy's, and MasterCard. There's some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Top of the third, back here from the Bronx with Steve Phillips and Oral Hershiser. I'm Dan Schulman. Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Smirnoff Ice. Carl Crawford, first pitch swinging, ground ball to second. And Cano will make the play, so they keep the speedster off the base paths.
Well, with Jabba Chamber on the mound, you think about 91-92. Sometimes you need a lot of life or it gets hit. Well, 91-92, there's not a lot of sink on that ball. It has barely about an inch or two of movement. It stays on the barrel of the bat. But as you go up in the velocity chain, if you get to 94-95, the life doesn't matter as much because the extra 3 feet on your fastball, which is the difference in 3 miles an hour, you get an extra foot for every 3 miles an hour. So that extra foot that Jabba gets when he goes to 94-95, that's where the outs are.
If you were in charge of this organization right now, what would you do? What would you do with him right now?
Well, I've always wanted him to be a reliever. Even when they wanted to put him in as a starter, I thought you had a very successful 8th inning guy that probably someday could have taken over Mariano Rivera's job, I thought. Now Phil Hughes looks like he might be in that rocking chair as Mariano continues his career. But I would tell him to change speeds on the pitches he already has. Instead of trying to develop new pitches like the changeup and the curveball, I'd try and make the slider bigger. Nice play.
Cano takes one away from Longoria.
Try and make the slider bigger and slower, and also throw it harder and shorter, and make the fastball a 2-seamer that puts movement on. But right here, you need some movement. He barrels that one up, Steve. I'm telling you what, you played in the middle infield.
Other than those changes you'd make to him, I mean, to me, it's a remake for him. I'd have to move back to the bullpen. I thought I thought he'd be Roger Clemens as a starter. When I saw him in the bullpen last year, I thought if he becomes a starter, because his curveball wasn't bad last year at times. I really thought that he had a chance with that sort of electric stuff and that sort of eye of the tiger on the mound. He was so competitive. I thought he could be a young Roger Clemens. He's been ordinary as a starter, and if he's ordinary as a starter, he was special as a reliever. And I think you have to strongly consider putting him back in a role that made him special. The question is, will his stuff come back? I don't know for a fact that it will.
Anything that a pitcher does before the age of 25, I'm impressed. Because I think 24, 25 years old is kind of normal to get to the big leagues. And these young men that are getting here at 21 to 23 years old and putting big numbers on the board, I have to critique them with a grain of salt, because they really are still learning as far as innings and competing and experience. And so when we say maybe it'll never come back, I agree with you, but I also say we've got to give him a little bigger window to watch it.
Now, because they're trying to limit his innings, he can't go deep into games at all, and the bullpen is up here in the 3rd inning. Alfredo Aceves, who has 10 wins in relief for the Yankees this year. So this could be the last inning theoretically for Chamberlain. He's thrown 54 pitches. He has retired 7 in a row right now since getting into trouble in the 1st inning. Fastball hit to right field, deep but playable for Swisher. And the inning is over. Will that be all for Chamberlain? Well, we do know this. We'll see Derek Jeter again in the bottom half of the inning. He's already got 1 hit tonight, moving closer to Gehrig. Welcome back to Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice. We are at Yankee Stadium in the final game of a 4-game series between the Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays. The Yankees have won the first 3 games, but it's the Rays who lead tonight 2-0. Jason Bartlett with a home run to lead off the game. Pat Burrell with an RBI single. A very impressive couple of innings so far tonight for big rookie right-hander Jeff Neiman. He's given up just a bunt hit. There's Jose Molina, the number 9 hitter. The other base runner for the Yankees came on an error. 0-1 the count on Molina, giving Jorge Posada a night off. A chance that all 3 Molina brothers will be playing baseball in October this year. Yadier Molina with St. Louis, Benji Molina with San Francisco, although the Giants are now 3 back of the Rockies for the National League wild card. Colorado's playing about as well as anybody.
The Giants had a little bit of a scare with Tim Lincecum, back inflammation, unable to take the ball yesterday. Obviously a troubling situation for them because he is so critical to their success.
And as much torque as he puts on his body, that's something that could linger not only this year but in the future.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Molina. You saw Jeter waiting on deck. He's got a hit tonight on a bunt single. So now at 2,719, 2 away from tying Lou Gehrig's all-time franchise record for hits. Molina chases and is gone for the first out.
Well, Derek Jeter decides, you know what, I've got to get on the board here. 0 for 12 isn't what I want. Bunt base hit, gets it going, and there's some thought that once he got on base with that next hit, the floodgates would open and he'd start to rattle off some hits here. Again, we talk about Jeff Neiman, a first pitch fastball pitcher most of the time. Derek Jeter tends to look for that first pitch fastball.
Longoria is in a lot closer at third this time after the bunt single by Jeter. Jeter, a .317 career hitter, .328 this year as he takes high ball one. Came up in 1995, became a regular in '96.
Used as a role model down in the minor leagues for the Yankees. Needed 4 hits his last day in A-ball to hit .202. Made 56 errors that year as a skinny shortstop. And now they pull out the grainy tape of Derek Jeter playing back in the minor leagues and saying, this guy made 56 errors his first year, hit .202, 4 hits on the last day of the year. You can still do it. For the guys that are depressed in the minors, not getting it done.
Said he weighed 154 pounds when he was signed by the Yankees. He was listed at 175. He says it was about 154.
Out of high school, they were wondering if he's going to go to Michigan State or Michigan. He grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Right, ended up, I think, committing to Michigan, but then signing with the Yankees organization. And, you know, when you hit .202 and you make 56 errors and you still become a star, it's about mental toughness.
And a big cheer after the contact, but it's just a routine ground ball to short. Jeter retired 2 down as we go to Kevin Connors back in the studio.
All right, Dan, the Red Sox wasted no time in jumping on Baltimore. First inning, bases loaded. Jason Bay delivers off Jason Birkin. Jacoby Ellsbury, Kevin Youkilis come around to score. RBIs number 99 and 100 for Bay. Red Sox lead 2-1. Pressure is on. The Rangers continue to keep winning. They won 10-0 earlier today. And the Padres' 4-2 win, Dan, has them 3.5 back of the Rockies.
So trouble for San Francisco. They do have a 3-game series in San Francisco against Colorado next week. And how about the Texas Rangers just pounding on the Cleveland Indians the last couple of days? And right on the heels of the Boston Red Sox for the American League wild card. I think a lot of people just kept expecting once the summer wore on that Texas would fade, but they have had a great year, just a game and a half out of a playoff spot, and just a 2-team race for the wild card right now in the American League. The Rays have pretty much played themselves out of it over the last couple of weeks.
Well, the Rangers have made big improvements in their defense and in their pitching. And pitching and defense wins championship, and it might just win them a wild card.
2-0 Tampa Bay, bottom of the third. And there's Johnny Damon drawing a walk, the first given up tonight by Neiman. This week on Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, a part of the hunt for October, the New York Mets head to Philadelphia to take on the division-leading Phillies at 8 Eastern. Right here on ESPN, and of course, Mr. Phillips will be there. The Phillies may be leading their division, but they've got something to work out right now. Brad Lidge struggled again last night, low to the bases. Ryan Madson came on. Charlie Manuel brought him, and Madson got the save. Mark Teixeira fouls one off at the plate, and it's not a comfortable situation at this point of the season for a contending team not to really know who their closer is.
No, I think it's a major question mark for the Phillies. Now, Brett Myers, who had closed in the past and more recently been a starting pitcher, is back, pitched in relief yesterday a little bit, so he may be at least an option to push back to the end of the game. But I think a real question mark coming in. The other thing, the Phillies offense, big time struggling right now. 9 of their last 10 runs have come from solo home runs. They scored 5 yesterday, all solo home runs in that game. Their offense, they have not capitalized with runners in scoring position. And, you know, a juggernaut offense has really been cooled down here down the stretch.
They're leading 3-1 against Washington tonight. I'm thinking about the third. But, you are so right.
Big shift on for Teixeira. Damon the lead at first, and the pitch is outside.
For the New York Mets, Carlos Beltran rejoined the team yesterday, back from his knee injury, but left the game today with an ankle sprain or strain of some sort. Wow. So, you know, just the misery continues for the Mets.
That's 14 games under 500. Just a
Gentlemen, you booked your hotels on Orbitz. Well, the price went down, so you're all getting a check for the difference.
Yeah, thanks.
Except for you. You didn't book with Orbitz. You're not getting a check. Well, I think we've all learned a valuable lesson today. Good day, gentlemen.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Introducing Hotel Price Assurance, where if another Orbitz customer books the same hotel for less, we send you a check for the difference automatically.
Hey, do you think you can milk a hamster?
I don't know. Let's KGB it.
Can you milk a hamster?
Well, it's a mammal. Mammals produce milk.
Only one way to find out.
What is this, soy? Sorta. Delightful.
Text your question to 542-542.
2-0 race as we go to the fourth inning here in the Bronx. Let's take a look now at our one-a-day men strikeout leaders for this week. And the ace of the Yankee rotation, CC Sabathia, is among American League strikeout leaders. He is fifth with 177. The Tigers' Justin Verlander leading the way. For every strikeout this season, one-a-day men's multivitamins and MLB will donate $10 to the Prostate Cancer Foundation. To date, the program has raised over $286,000. A new pitcher for the Yankees. Jabba Chamberlain goes only 3 innings tonight. Third consecutive start in which he's gone exactly 3 innings. And here's one of the unsung heroes for the Yankees this year, reliever Alfredo Aceves. Look at those numbers. Middle to long reliever, 10 wins. That's more than any reliever in baseball this year. This is a guy who pitched in Mexico for 6 years, from 2002 to 2007, before being signed to a minor league deal last year by the Yankees. And he's got a chance, Steve, to fill an important role, obviously during the season, but in the postseason. If a starter gets knocked out early, this is the hold 'em right here guy.
Well, so valuable to Joe Girardi, the versatility of Alfredo Aceves. I mean, he could come in and get one hitter out. He can come in and get an inning, pitch an inning for you, or he can pitch multiple innings. And that's why he has the 10 wins in this game. He reminds them of Ramiro Mendoza back from the late 90s, early 2000s, kind of that versatile reliever they had.
The change up there, swung on and missed. 2-2 on Pat Burrell, who had an RBI single his first time up.
This is one of the long men in baseball that may not lose his job when the playoffs comes. Usually the guys from the starting rotation that don't make the rotation end up in long relief. But when you're as high a quality as he has been, it's going to be an integral part all the way through the playoffs. Of his 7 outings that have gone longer than 3 innings, 6 of them have been scoreless. So usually that's the soft underbelly of a pitching staff. Not here with the Yankees.
Burrell was out in front of that last changeup from Aceves and ripped it just foul down the left field line. So for Jabba Chamberlain, 3 innings, 2 runs, 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 3. And he gave up the home run to Bartlett. Swing and a miss. Burrell is gone as we check in back in the studio with Kevin Connors.
All right, Dan, U.S. Open play on ESPN2. Feel-good story of this tournament has been 17-year-old Melanie Oudin, but she is struggling out of the gates against Caroline Wozniacki. That ace in the first set made it 3-love. It's currently 5-2. It's a match you can see over on ESPN2. Dan?
All right, well, Steve was telling me before she's had a history of losing the first set, then coming back to win, right?
Like we saw 1-7 in the first set in Grand Slam tournaments, so she does not tend to get off to a good start, but she tends to wear her opponents down.
Chris Richard takes a strike over the inside corner.
A lot of energy, boy. She is quick on her feet. You know, to put a ribbon on the Jabba Chamberlain discussion, because we've talked a lot about that and the way the Yankees have used him. Now, to be fair to him, in his first 20 starts this year, he went 7-2 and had a 3.58 earned run average. And it was at that point they decided they needed to put the brakes on his innings and slow him down. And since they did that, it really disrupted his rhythm and his performance started to suffer. So I think, to be fair, when he was a starter being treated like any other starter, he performed well.
Richard lifts a lazy fly ball in a shallow left center field. Brett Gardner is there, 2 down.
So I think that, you know, he actually performed pretty well when he was just starting. You can see tonight This is not dissimilar than his previous 6 starts where he had struggled, 1-3 with an ERA close to 8. He was not very effective, didn't hit his spots, didn't command his stuff. And it's interesting the different way that the Tampa Bay Rays developed David Price, their young special arm, where they started him slowly into the season and then ramped him up to where he was full bore at the end of the year when they hoped and thought the season would be the most important. For Jabba, it was start strong and slow down and put the brakes on. For David Price, it was start slowly, speed up as the season went along.
And even if Chamberlain starts pitching better, and even if the Yankees want him to start in the postseason, he's throwing 50 to 60 pitches a game right now. How much can they expect out of him in the postseason?
Well, if that first round he's a starter, then they're not projecting him as a starter because he will not be ready. But they're talking about by the end of September to get him back up to 100 to 110 pitches. But it's one thing is by the time he gets there, will he be confident? Will he be on his game? With this start him up, slow him down, start him up, not ever be able to get back on the horse and be a quality pitcher?
2 outs, nobody on. The Rays batting in the top of the 4th in front of a big crowd here in the Bronx, leading the Yankees 2-0. Both runs coming in the first inning off Chamberlain. This changeup from Aceves, swung on and missed by Gross, 2-1.
Now, the one thing to point out, though, with David Price, the Rays had the luxury of starting him in the minor leagues. It's much easier to protect innings and pitches in the minor leagues because you can just take them out. You're not worried about winning there. You're worried about developing. It's hard with Jabba to win, develop, and protect all 3 at the major league level. Very difficult to do.
But at the beginning of the season, there was a plan in place, and the plan changed at least a couple of times during the year. Whereas the Rays said, here's what we're doing with David Price, and they're still doing it. They're still living by the same rules that they set out back in March.
Yeah, that's starting in the major leagues and starting in the minor leagues, though, is a big difference.
And the worrisome piece for me with Jabba is not only watching the innings and keeping him healthy, but watching them develop as a pitcher, to go from reliever to starter and then watch him develop a repertoire that will be an effective starting repertoire, being able to change speeds, having secondary stuff, and all the different things. Location, 2-seam fastball, 4-seam fastball. For me, he is still a 2-pitch pitcher.
2-2. Should be playable in foul territory. Alex Rodriguez, inning over. Aceves gets the Rays in order in his first inning out of the Yankee pen. Always a lot of famous folks watching the Yankees here in the Bronx. You're looking at Jerry Ferrara from Entourage and his television and real-life girlfriend, Jamie Lynn Sigler, of course, from The Sopranos. 2-0 Rays as we go to the bottom of the 4th here in the Bronx. Lorne Michaels is here looking on as well.
Oh, you got a chance of hosting Saturday Night Live?
I did after 1988.
Did you
not
really?
Anymore. I had a chance.
No.
Well, Alex Rodriguez was up with a man on second, 2 out, and a rookie pitcher on the mound. What's he throwing? A 3-2 count with first base open. Matsui, 3 fastballs and gets him to fly out to center field. Poise, aggression, and he hides the ball really well. Jeff Neiman on the mound. Tell you what, it cuts both ways too. It shows the kind of lack of respect for Alex, and maybe would just go after him even though first base is open, and it shows the confidence that a young rookie pitcher has to use his stuff, and especially his fastball.
If you're a pitching coach sitting in a meeting with the pitcher who's going to start that night against the New York Yankees, Jim Hickey, the pitching coach of the Rays, is Alex Rodriguez still the #1 guy you're worried about in this lineup, or is he just one of the guys you're worried about in this lineup?
He's one of the guys, I think, right now. Teixeira is probably the main guy for me. And then with Matsui behind Alex Rodriguez, I would still worry about Alex because Matsui's only hitting, I think, 269. The production is there, and you worry about right field as a left-handed hitter. But Alex's best power at times is to right center. So you really can consider Alex not a left-handed hitter, but power that can fit into new Yankee Stadium as far as where the ball carries.
Fastball that he gets by him, and he strikes Rodriguez out. Well, Jeff Neiman continues to be very impressive tonight against the Yankees. 3 1/3, just 1 hit, 6'9", 260. Won a College World Series at Rice. Terrific numbers in the minors, and big guys, as you've said, sometimes they take a little bit longer to develop, but this guy is getting better and better. He's got 12 wins, tied for the most among American League rookies with Rick Porcello of the Tigers and Ricky Romero of the Blue Jays. All of those guys certainly in the Rookie of the Year conversation. In the American League, Andrew Bailey, a reliever, the closer with Oakland. He's got 23 saves and some great numbers. He's in there as well, and really no runaway candidate for the award.
Well, 6'9" is imposing and intimidating, but when the ball comes out of his hand, that's more intimidating.
Base hit through the right side for Hideki Matsui.
I think there has to be some deception in Jeff Niemann's delivery, because at 91-92 to get swings and misses with his fastball, I think is very impressive, especially up in the zone. And I have to say, there's Jim Hickey, the pitching coach for Tampa Bay. If I'm throwing Alex Rodriguez three fastballs on a 3-2 count, and I'm the pitching coach, and my pitcher, I'm holding my breath. With Hideki Matsui on deck, I know Alex hasn't been productive like this year, like he's been in the past, but he still scares me to throw 3-2 fastballs over the heart of the plate.
Now Niemann struck out A-Rod here in this inning, gave up the base hit to Matsui. And now here is Nick Swisher. Swisher popped up his first time up. A switch hitter batting from the left side, homered from each side of the plate in last night's game. As the Rays will play the first baseman behind Matsui, and Swisher loops one into right field, a base hit, throw to second, and just safe, just in ahead of the throw is Matsui.
Well, remember, Hideki Matsui has bad knees. They affected him early in the season, and stopping and starting is difficult. You see him start to go, then he hesitates for just a moment, wondering whether the ball is going to get caught in right field, and then to start up again. Gabe Gross does a nice job on the run, trying to come in and make the play on it. You see Matsui trying to get in there, and then he got so close to the bag he didn't slide either. And I'll tell you what, he's very, very fortunate he didn't get forced out at second base.
Swisher saying, man, I was that close to not getting that base hit. So first and second, one out for the Yankees, trailing 2-0. And here's Robinson Cano, who reached on a 3-base error. Charged to B.J. Upton. Now he bounces one up the middle, backhanded by Zobrist. And they will record the out at second base.
Now, one of the things the Rays have missed is Aki Iwamura up the middle at second base. He moved from third base to second base last year and was an amazing transition. This is a double play ball for the Rays last year. This year, he's out at second only. I know Cano coming out of the box left-handed maybe beats it, but a good clean flip with the momentum of the shortstop going to first base is probably a double play, but they get one out for sure, but it could have been two.
Pretty good play by Bartlett to hang in there and take that short hop feed from Zobrist. So it's a fielder's choice for Cano. First and third, 2 down for Brett Gardner. Gardner grounded out his first time up. He's a .268 hitter on the season. Melky Cabrera not in the lineup tonight for the Yankees. Gardner's in there, missed about 6 weeks with a fractured thumb, just back recently.
Gardner, a guy who can absolutely fly, and that's where it puts some pressure on the infield defense, because a slow hit ball with his speed could turn into an infield hit.
At third, Matsui. At first, Cano. 2 down here in the fourth, and the Yankees looking to get on the board against Jeff Niemann and the Rays. Two and one. Wind is blowing in tonight here at Yankee Stadium. This has been a hitter's dream so far this year. A ton of home runs hit in this ballpark. Gardner with about 3 on the year. Fouls it back, 2-2.
One of those for Brett Gardner. He had inside the park home run this season.
Yep. The major league record, by the way, for home runs is 264, set by the Mariners a few years back. The Yankees are not going to approach that. They have 218 right now. They'd have to get really hot. Gardner lifts a fly ball in a shallow center field. Upton still coming on and makes the basket catch. Well, it turned what it looked like a routine play into a bit of an adventure, but he makes the catch, and the inning is over. We go to the top of the 5th inning here at Yankee Stadium with the Rays leading the Yankees 2-0. Look at the record for the Yankees at home since the All-Star break, and overall 39-13 since the All-Star break. Easily the best in baseball. Although Colorado is almost as hot over in the National League right now. Deanna Navarro leads it off here in the 5th for Tampa Bay. Grounded out his first time up. A guy who hit .295 a year ago, hitting .225 this year. He'll be followed by B.J. Upton and then Jason Bartlett.
I think one of the decisions personnel-wise for Tampa Bay is, will the real Deanna Navarro please stand up? I mean, which is the guy? Which is the guy who performed this year and, you know, didn't drive the ball, didn't hit nearly like he could, had difficulty holding on to some pitches behind the plate.
Pass to Sevis on the mound. Cano flips in time to get him. Well, what a difference a year makes for the Tampa Bay Rays. In 2008, just a year ago, the American League champions won the American League East, won 97 games, beat the Red Sox in the ALCS before losing to the Phillies in the World Series. Just a great season for a team that had finished last almost every single season of its existence until last year. But this year, between injuries, between some of the personnel moves they made not working out, the defense not being as good, the hitting has slowed down. There's Upton with a fly ball to center field. Gardner there, 2 down. That is now 13 in a row set down by Yankee pitching, the combination of Chamberlain and Sevis. But you can see what a difference a year makes. 13 games back of their pace a year ago. Pitching.
Those pitching numbers really the big difference right there. I mean, I think that's the major factor, is the starting pitching not nearly as predictable and quality as last season. The bullpen has let them down, as we've talked about this year.
And just those thin edges too. In 2008, in one-run games, they were 29-18. This year they are 17-23. So just the little edges, the bullpen not as good, the rotation not as good, the defense not as good, the offense not as good, just an edge. It changes a lot in the one-run games. That's 11 games over 500 compared to 6 games under.
And playing in an unforgiving division too, having to compete with the Red Sox and Yankees year after year. Beat them both last year.
I have to believe there was some hangover effect as well of going to the World Series last year. I think for some of the bullpen guys, they logged a lot of innings. Talk about J.P. Howell, the most relief innings over the last 2 seasons of any pitcher in the major leagues.
Well, early on, they didn't get off to a very fast start. Everybody was calling it a World Series hangover. Even Joe Madden talked about that a little bit in the media. Then they kind of found their legs and really started to take off, and were one of the better teams in baseball, but just have not been able to finish off this year.
Ball 4, and Bartlett will draw the 2-out walk here in the 5th. Starting pitching and change as well. As you can see, the ERA much higher for the rotation this year than a year ago, although Joe Madden says they've done their job. The offense needs to do more, the bullpen needs to do better, the defense needs to do better. Joe Madden held the rotation, in our conversation with the pregame, held the rotation in higher esteem than he did any other part of his team.
Well, part of that ERA being higher is the bullpen failure of inherited runners. They've really allowed a lot of inherited runners to score, where when they come in and they're lights out, you save not only wins for starters, but you save their ERAs. And so it all kind of works together.
99 inherited runners allowed to score, second most in the American League.
Runner at first, 2 down, 2-0 Tampa Bay, top of the 5th, and here's Carl Crawford. Crawford tonight has singled and scored, and he's also grounded out. And you just wonder, you look at the pitching, and they should all be able to stay together. The rotation that they have now appears to be the rotation they would want and be able to have next year. But do they have to trade another salary to hold on to certain other players who are becoming arbitration eligible or have increases built into their contracts?
Well, I think Off the record, they would say they would not have wanted to trade Scott Kazmir. The person they probably would have wanted to trade is Pat Burrell. Unproductive year, on the hook for another year, but he was untradeable. But Scott Kazmir has a couple hot starts. The Angels put a tickler, a feeler out for him, and they go, yeah. And they look at the long run and they say, you know what, this one works for us. Got a little depth in the rotation. Young guys coming.
Well, they freed up over $20 million over the next couple of years. And I think the Rays are at a very critical juncture in their organization. I think their rotation's pretty well set. Carl Crawford has an option for next year at $10 million. We talk about the money for Pat Burrell. Carlos Pena is going to make about $10.5 million. They're going to have to make a decision because of the other arbitration eligible players who are going to get a bump in pay. They're probably going to have to trade one, maybe two other of their more core players to be able to afford to move forward as an organization.
I think one of the disappointments too has been attendance was flat this year, and obviously the more you draw, the more revenues you have, and the Rays attendance has not been what they had hoped it would have been coming off the World Series year. They had games against the Red Sox just within the last couple of weeks. They were getting 17,000, 18,000.
They were hoping 2.3 to 2.6 million, and they ended up around 1.75 or so, maybe by the end of the year 1.8.
I'll tell you, I'll say this. I'll be surprised if B.J. Upton is a Tampa Bay Ray next year. We've seen some plays in the outfield tonight where I'd say you'd at least have to question his intensity level. He's had some leg injuries in the past, to be fair. But his production hasn't been there offensively, hitting only .237. The power's not there, only 9 home runs. He complained when he was moved to the 9 spot in the lineup. And I think that when they have to try to figure out who's part of the problem, part of the solution, and who they can afford for the future, they have to get banged for the buck. And that performance and effort isn't banged for the buck from what we've seen from Upton so far this year and tonight.
Crawford hits one a ton down the right field line, but he never left the plate. He saw it hooking foul.
And Upton will be a guy who's coveted. I mean, he's an extraordinary defensive outfielder. I think a change of scenery with a new environment and maybe, new accountability to a coaching staff and to an organization may benefit him. And he's one of those guys that if you trade, you see, the month of June, how great he was, but the rest of the year has been a struggle. He's one of those guys that that if you trade him, he may be better for somebody else than he is for you, but you might still have to do it.
I'll tell you what, that bullpen, though, has been a hole, too, through the year, especially at the end. Troy Percival, they tried to get bang for the buck, as you say, and then they went with Jason Isringhouse, and neither one really panned out, and that's going to be a big hole that they're going to have to address, is who's going to be the closer.
J.P. Howell showed flashes of being able to handle that, but he's run out of gas a little bit. Joe Madden understands he's got to pull back a little bit on him to protect his arm because how critical he is to the future of the organization.
The inning is over as Aceves strikes out Crawford. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th, get another look at Derek Jeter swinging the bat. Jason Bartlett leading off the game with a home run off Jabba Chamberlain. And the Rays an early lead. Derek Jeter with a bunt single his first time up. Swisher having another productive night for the Yankees, but it is still 2-0 Tampa Bay as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Wednesday night baseball on ESPN. Dodgers and Diamondbacks still to come in the second game of the doubleheader tonight. Here is Jose Molina, the number 9 hitter for the Yankees, pulling one in the hole. Bartlett from the outfield. Grass gets him. And he ain't the slowest Molina out there.
Well, with Derek Jeter coming to plate, he just Derek Jetered him right there. But the slowest Molina made this possible. That's jump throw from about 15-20 feet into the left field grass.
That's some kind of effort right there. And I'll tell you what, that's arm strength and agility and a strong core to be able to get in the air and turn and make a throw like that.
Great play by Jason Bartlett getting Jose Molina for the first out here in the bottom of the 5th. And here's Derek Jeter, 1 for 2 tonight, had a bunt single in the first, 2 hits away from tying Lou Gehrig's franchise record. Jeter has done it in fewer seasons than Lou Gehrig, but in more at-bats than Lou Gehrig. And having one of his best all-around seasons, hitting for average, hitting for power, stealing bases. Parents looking on here at Yankee Stadium. Jeter has never won an MVP. And you would think is in the conversation this year. Mark Teixeira's name gets mentioned. Joe Mauer's name gets mentioned, although it does not appear obviously the Twins are going to be a postseason team. 2-1. Start to look at some of the accomplishments of Jeter. Just past Yogi Berra for third on the Yankees all-time game list. Batting average top 5 and in pretty good company as he is on all Yankee lists. 2-2 outside corner at the knees. Great pitch by Neiman.
I'll tell you what, you look at where Derek Jeter is right now at 35 years old, and you see second in hits. I think that he's got a legitimate chance to get to 4,000 hits in his career. Play another 8 years. He plays another 8 years. He's projected at the end of this year to have 213 hits in this season. If he gets to where his normal projection is so far this year, if he plays 8 more seasons, he'd need only 156 hits per year for those 8 seasons to get to 4,000. Since 1996 through 2008, he's averaged 194 hits per season. And that includes 1 year he only played in 119 games. So it's very doable in my mind.
Deep center. Over Upton's head. A ground rule double for Derek Jeter. 2,720.
Well, Derek Jeter stays right on that ball, drives it. He knows he's hit it pretty well. He's watching it to see if B.J. Upton has what it takes to run it down. But look at the effort B.J. Upton puts on this ball. I'm sorry. This is a guy who has terrific range. He has great speed, but he didn't put any effort into going after that. And if his legs aren't healthy to where he can't run, he shouldn't be playing in the game, because that just is, he's a guy, you got to run that ball down, or at least try to run it down.
Johnny Damon, the batter. Fly ball to right field. Gross will make the catch. 2 down in the inning as we send it back to Kevin Connors in the studio.
Dan, your Sports Center right now, and you know Steve Phillips pointed it out. Melanie Udan has struggled in first sets. She's fallen behind tonight. Caroline Wozniacki took the first set 6-2. This match is currently in the second set. Udan is 17-4 in 3-set matches. On ESPN Classic World Cup qualifying, Team USA versus Trinidad and Tobago. That's Ricardo Clark getting the U.S. on the board. Next Sports Center comes your way 1 Eastern on ESPN. Dan?
So, Kevin, a busy night in many different sports here tonight. Here at Yankee Stadium, the Rays lead the Yankees 2-0. Derek Jeter has 2 hits. Standing out at second to base right now, and his next to the bat, he'll take a shot at tying Lou Gehrig's franchise record. Here's Mark Teixeira. The Yankees tonight are 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position, so they have had some opportunities. But Jeff Neiman has gotten some big outs when he's really needed them.
He continues to pound the strikes on Mark Teixeira. Got robbed last at bat with a line drive over the first baseman's head that it was fielded by the second baseman. So he feels like he is due one. But Neiman, when he has given up the hard hit ball, the defense has usually picked him up.
Well, Jeff Neiman working hard out there tonight, trying to make pitches where he can. You see Derek Jeter hit this ball. He got a good piece of it, but B.J. Upton just coasting after that ball, and it hits the warning track. But Jeff Neiman's looking out there thinking, you know, I'm trying to gauge time and distance and space, thinking, you know, maybe you had a chance to run that one down, B.J., and I don't want to be the guy to go down in history with Derek Jeter getting his record hit off of me.
Well, as you said, if his ankle's bothering him that much that that's the best he can do, he shouldn't be in there. If there's nothing wrong with him and that's the best he's choosing to do, he shouldn't be in there either. The way that's 3 plays tonight where he certainly has not appeared to give his best, and only Joe Maddon and B.J. Upton know how much the ankle's bothering him right now. But this is a guy not coming close to going after a ball at full speed, it would appear. Grounder to the shortstop. Bartlett on the second base side of the bag to get Teixeira, who hits into the shift again. And ends the inning. Puzzling night for B.J. Upton. Quiet night for the Yankees offensively, despite the 2 hits from Derek Jeter.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice. Brought to you by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated for men.
Welcome back to New York. We're out here in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium. Dan Schulman, Orel Hershiser, Steve Phillips. The Rays 2 and the Yankees nothing, going to the top of the 6th inning. Both runs for Tampa coming back in the first. There's Evan Longoria, who has struck out and grounded out. Third inning of relief out of the Yankee pen for Alfredo Aceves after Jabba Chamberlain went 3 innings tonight. After Longoria, it'll be Ben Zobrist and then Pat Burrell. This is the 3-4-5 part of Joe Maddon's lineup. Fastball straightens him up, a ball and a strike.
I think he's going to put those numbers up for a long time. It's going to be 30 and 120, 40 and 140.
Rolls one out to Jeter. One down between innings. B.J. Upton coming into the dugout, talking to the trainer, then manager Joe Maddon coming over and talking to him, and it appeared to be that Upton said the ankle's just not right. Well, after the trainer talked to him, Joe Maddon with just a pat on the shoulder, and that appears to be all. We'll have to wait till the next half inning when the Rays take the field, but it sure looks like B.J. Upton is done. He has gone down the tunnel, so we will have to assume that the ankle is bothering him again. He sprained it last week, missed a few games, came back Monday in the second game of the doubleheader, sat out last night, back in the lineup tonight. And we have seen 3 different occasions tonight where something certainly appeared to be bothering B.J. Upton. Ben Zobrist, the batter, a walk and a fly ball.
I have to say I'm actually glad to see that it was physical, because they're not eliminated just yet, and there are times where you're fighting for your life that as a manager you're going to go to a player and say, hey, can you go for me, and a player is sometimes going to say yes when he probably shouldn't. I think they were going to get diminishing returns from his effort out there because of the ankle injury, and I think it's the right thing to do to take him out of the ball game right now, and good for him for speaking up, and I think Joe Maddon doing the right thing getting him out of the ball game.
Some guys try to rise to the occasion. They just lose Carlos Pena to a broken hand. They need offense. He's had a frustrating offensive year. So you do go that one step further when there's really only a few days left in the Rays season, unless they can put a 7-8 game winning streak together.
The 2-2 to Zobrist, and the fastball misses outside, a full count.
I had a chance to chat with Ben Zobrist before the game, and he's really accentuated his power this year. 23 home runs and 420 at bats. Before this year, 478 at bats, only 15 home runs in his big league career. He's kind of flattened out his swing. He's got more power, more hip turn in there.
Comes up empty at the breaking ball. Another strikeout for Aceves. The 2009 Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame Enshrinement Ceremony, presented by Gatorade, is on ESPN a Friday at 6:30 Eastern. Listen to this group that is going into the Hall of Fame: C. Vivian Stringer, Jerry Sloan, John Stockton, David Robinson, and Michael Jordan, going into the Hall of Fame on ESPN a Friday at 6:30 Eastern. Tough ticket, I would think. Pat Burrell, the batter.
Will the speeches go out in alphabetical order, or will they save Michael for last?
I would just,
I was at it.
I was at it. Didn't have a great seat. No, I had a good seat. And it wasn't alphabetical. And I recall each of the speeches were supposed to be 5 minutes or less. I recall Dick going a little bit over.
Yeah, barely.
Okay. Just a little bit over. So I don't think it is alphabetical. That's a good question. I don't know if they'll save Michael Jordan for last or not. I think Patrick Ewing was last the year I was there.
Well, so that wouldn't be alphabetical.
No.
Vital,
no,
Ewing.
No.
Even if you started Ewing with a U, we'd be all right.
Yeah. So,
but it's E.
It is not alphabetical.
That's not right, Laurel.
He's from Canada. You know, is your alphabet the same?
It is the same. I don't think I was arguing with you about whether it was alphabetical.
I know, but just your looks.
Yeah.
not your looks, but your expressions.
We're contemplating a booth version of the Java rules up here.
Oh, are we now?
Watch yourself. Yeah.
I can only go so many innings.
You're running out of words. Yes. You're about at your limit.
20% increase.
Burrell with a ground ball. Jeter recovers, throw to first in time, and the inning is over as the Rays go 1-2-3 to the bottom of the 6th here in the Bronx. Oral Dicey to return, 2-0 Tampa.
And on Cal Ripken night, tonight he breaks Lou Gehrig's record and extends his consecutive game streak to 2,131. This game is now in the books, and let it be said that number 8, Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star.
All season you've been helping us celebrate our 20th season of Major League Baseball on ESPN by casting your votes for our 20th year All-Star team. Now it's time to go to the MLB page at ESPN.com and to make your pick for the best left fielder over the last 20 years. Barry Bonds, Manny Ramirez, or Ricky Henderson. Tune in Sunday night on Sunday Night Baseball to find out who wins. A looper into shallow center. Alex Rodriguez has a base hit, dropping in front of the new center fielder for Tampa Bay, Fernando Perez, who just came on to replace B.J. Upton. Well, back to the left fielders. Without question, the best leadoff man in the history of baseball. Just ask him. Ricky Henderson. The other two candidates are both, of course, both tainted by allegations, at the very least, of steroid use. Barry Bonds and Manny Ramirez. The all-time home run leader, Manny Ramirez, climbing up the home run charts, a 12-time All-Star, and Ricky Henderson, the best leadoff man the game has ever seen. I think I'm liking Ricky's chances right now. Here's Hideki Matsui.
I think so far in the fan voting for the different positions, if there's been any sort of attachment to any performance enhancement drug, the fans have made a statement there. Those players have not gotten their votes, and I think Ricky, among that group, has, I think, a chance to win in a landslide if things go according to the way they've gone over the last few votes.
And according to Hall of Fame voters also, when you have that shadow over your head.
There's Fernando Perez, who missed most of the season with a shoulder injury and wasn't sporting that stash last time we saw him when he was up with the Rays last year. What's the verdict, boys? That's what I thought. The silence is deafening.
The 5th.
Matsui 1 for 2 tonight.
But he's playing a really shallow center field, though. I don't know about the stash, but this is one of the shallow center fields I've seen played here at the new Yankee Stadium. He is in there close. That first swing by Alex
Phillips, son. John Maine likely to come off the DL and to be the starter for the Mets in that game. Nick Swisher, the batter, 1 for 2.
I think we have a chance for Pedro Martinez possibly in that second game that day. There's a day-night doubleheader in Philadelphia, so Pedro pitching one of those two. And what a great story he's been for the Phillies. Surprising.
Jeff Neiman working on a shutout bid here into the 6th inning at Yankee Stadium against the highest scoring team in baseball. Alex Rodriguez aboard with a leadoff bloop single, and Hideki Matsui was retired on a fly ball to shallow center. Derek Jeter, a couple of hits in this game, now one back of tying Lou Gehrig's franchise mark. A-Rod leaning, bluffs his start, and a strike taken by Swisher. Fourth and final game of this series between the Rays and the Yankees. Tampa Bay comes in having lost 7 in a row, including the last 3 in a row here in New York. Dan Schulman, Oral Hershiser, Steve Phillips. Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN presented by Smirnoff. Both runs for the Rays coming back in the first inning. No scoring since. The Yankees have the best home record, best overall record in all of baseball, steamrolling their way back to the postseason after missing out on it a year ago. But the story tonight is the big man on the mound, 6'9", 260-pound Jeff Neiman, who has held Joe Girardi's Yankees in check here tonight.
Great location on all his pitches, able to throw them in any count. But the key for me tonight is when he's been backed into fastball counts, he decides to throw fastball, but continues to make quality pitches with good life and down in the strike zone when necessary and up when he has to.
1-2 on Nick Swisher.
Well, Yankee hitters just give up on that curveball. It's almost because they must be looking fastball. It comes out of his hand in that plane, and then he just drops it right down into the zone. A quality breaking ball.
Well, it's 6'9", 260 pounds, and you're pounding down by the knees with your fastball, and then you change their eye line. It's got to be a little bit of an optical illusion. He does a great job hiding the ball, staying close, getting down the hill. He is definitely somebody who is sneaky fast.
Change up and a swing and a miss to get him 2 down.
I'll tell you, the changeup here is outstanding. 83. You got to remember, he tops out about 96 with a fastball. Look at the arms stay behind his body. Gets all the way down the hill. Full follow through. That tells you that exhaust of that big body, 6'9", is getting down the hill. Every foot closer you get to the hitter, it's a 3-mile-an-hour difference in reaction time. So 91 down the hill can feel like 95, 96, 97 miles an hour. When you throw it over the rubber, 91 can feel like 86, 87. That's where the term sneaky fast comes. When you see the ball early, but when you get down the hill, the arm swing behind the body stays close. And look how far down the hill. Look at the drag. The drag line of his back toe is a good foot, foot and a half away from the rubber before he releases the ball. That makes 91 high 90s.
You know, the other thing that you notice about him is he's getting swings and misses on his curveball and his changeup. But if those pitches are taken, they're still strikes. So a lot of guys will throw the curveball, start at the zone, break it out of the zone, or start the changeup in and fade it off the plate. His are still strikes, and he's getting swings and misses, which really points to the quality and the change of velocity on his stuff.
A-Rod still at first, 2 down and a 1-1 count on Robinson Cano. Late on the fastball, 1-2. You get all excited about this kid tonight.
Well, I really
yeah, you like him, huh?
This is kind of the old school way to bring a pitcher around too. I mean, I was talking to Peter Pasquarelli, who does a lot of our research, knows everybody in baseball, and this guy's 26 years old, 700 innings pitched professionally. So he's coming along kind of like the way pitchers from my generation came along, not the quick 21, 22, 23-year-old that kind of skips a lot of the minor league development. He's been able to develop at the minor league level and now bring his craft to the big leagues, and he's doing it in a big way, maybe going to win the Rookie of the Year.
Which is interesting because you look on the other side of it, Jabba Chamberlain. You know, came up, really pitched a lot in the bullpen in the minor leagues, gets rushed up to the major leagues, and now they're trying to refine his craft at the major league level when he's also trying to compete, and wins and losses mean something up here. In the minor leagues, you can sacrifice a game in order for development purposes. David Price, a fast track guy, and he's developing at the major league level in a pretty good way as well.
Well, not only is Jabba Chamberlain trying to develop his repertoire at the big league level and become a starter and learn all the different pitches and how to win, he's doing it in the largest stage in the world, in a place where you really can't take a down year, and everything he does is under a microscope. It may be one thing to do it for the Washington Nationals or, you know, the Seattle Mariners in a down year right now or something like that, but to really think about doing it here in New York is really hard.
Runner goes, 2-2, swing and a miss, and the inning is over. Cano strikes out. 6 strikeouts for Jeff Neiman. 6 shutout innings for Jeff Neiman here in the Bronx. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium here in the Bronx. Dan Schulman, Steve Phillips, Oral Hershiser. Wednesday Night Baseball presented by Smirnoff Ice here on ESPN. A 2-0 lead for the Rays is held up since the very first inning against the team with the best record in baseball, the Yankees. We go to the bullpen again. First it was Jabba Chamberlain, 3 innings. He gave up 2 runs on 3 hits. Then it was Alfredo Aceves with 3 hitless innings. Just walked 1 batter, struck out 3. And now it is right-hander Jonathan Albaladejo, who has had 4 different stints with the Yankees this year. Has bounced up and down between the majors and AAA, making his 25th appearance of the season. 2 runs on 3 hits for Tampa Bay. No runs on 5 hits for the Yankees. The Rays have left 3. The Yankees have left 7. as Chris Richard, the first baseman, leads it off for Tampa and takes low ball 1. Richard again getting playing time after the injury, the season-ending injury to Carlos Pena. Hit by a CC Sabathia pitch a couple of days ago in game 1 of the doubleheader on Monday. Suffered 2 broken fingers on his left hand. Richard with a high fly ball to center field. Wynn pushing it back in as Gardner makes the catch, 1 down. MLB.TV, the ultimate baseball experience, featuring 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer. For more details, visit MLB.TV, where baseball is always on. Big crowd here in the Bronx tonight, enjoying some cooler weather. Fall is definitely in the air here in New York right now. We've got a breeze. Gabe Gross is the batter. He's 0 for 2.
Gabe Gross getting some at-bats here, but there's a young guy in the Rays organization named Matt Joyce. They got a deal from the Detroit Tigers for Edwin Jackson last year. They thought that he'd grow into being a power bat to play right field. Spent the entire year at AAA. Did not get called up when rosters expanded in September.
Now, is that perceived as a message they sent to Joyce, or did he just not play well to earn a promotion?
Well, his numbers weren't exactly what they wanted, but I think also it's service time. You got a small market team. You call up a player in September, he gets additional service time. He gets that much closer to free agency. He gets that much closer to arbitration where he can make more money. So I think there's some element of that in the decisions that the Rays have to make that the large market teams don't even have to contemplate.
Gross with a roller out to second. Cano's been busy tonight. 2 down as we check in again with Kevin Connors back in the studio.
All right, Dan, wild card leading Red Sox were just 1.5 up on Texas to start the night. They led 3-1 in the 6th inning, but the O's roar back. Felix P.A. singling home Ty Wigginton. It's now 4-3. Orioles lead this game in the 6th inning. Rangers a 10-0 pounding of the Indians earlier today. Win number 16 for Scott Feldman. Wild card leading Rockies tied with the Reds right now scoreless in the 3rd inning. The Giants 3.5 games back after their loss earlier today. Dan?
Kevin, thank you. So the Rockies starting to get some separation between themselves and the Giants pending the outcome of the Colorado game. Here's Navarro with a roller to first. It'll be Teixeira unassisted. It will be another inning, easy inning for a Yankee reliever. 1, 2, 3 go the Rays. 7th inning stretch, 2-0 Tampa Bay. Let's take a look at tonight's Captain Morgan game track. Jason Bartlett getting the Rays off to a quick start, leading off the game with a home run off Jabba Chamberlain. The Rays would add another run here in the top of the 1st inning. Derek Jeter tonight, 2 for 3. He is now just 1 hit shy of tying Lou Gehrig's all-time franchise record for most hits. Jeff Neiman, an outstanding performance through 6 innings so far tonight for the Rays, looking for his 13th win of the season. The big guy's back out there for the bottom of the 7th.
A possible Rookie of the Year candidate when you're shutting down the most prolific offense in the American League this year and using your fastball with men on base. All of these out pitches are fastballs, and all of these outs are with men on base. Some first and second, man on first. But the Yankees have left 7 on base tonight, or has Jeff Neiman stranded 7 because of the exceptional movement and exceptional fastball when backed into those counts that has still been a quality pitch and got him out.
Derek Jeter is due up 3rd this inning, and this place will go wild when he comes to the plate after the 2 hits that he has tonight. Now 2,720. Jeter, of course, you couldn't make him talk about that kind of a personal accomplishment. It just goes against his nature to dwell on anything to do with personal statistics.
I was reading today about his parents are trying to teach him to enjoy the moment instead of waiting till he retires and looking back and seeing what he's accomplished. Can you take a moment while you're playing and realize how special this is? And he said he's trying. But his focus is so much on consistency and the work ethic. Hard for him to get outside himself and say, oh, look what's happening, compared to staying in the moment.
Talk radio in New York today, there's Derek's parents there. But talk radio in New York was all about is Derek Jeter pressing. Is the pressure getting to him? Is he choking? I mean, for a guy who's never done that at any point in the most important games of his career, people were wondering if he was doing it over this. I was listening to ESPN Radio in New York, and Michael Kay, who does the play-by-play for the Yes Network and the Yankees telecast, he hosts the show, and a woman called in crying because she felt so bad for Derek Jeter and the pressure he must be under because his parents are here watching him and he must be letting them down. It was just, I mean, you almost welled up with tears yourself because she was really struggling with it.
0-2 to Brett Gardner is up and away.
I tell you, when you think about role models in the big leagues, there is one, and the other one for me is Mariano Rivera. Those two, the way they approach their business, the longevity of it, the consistency of it, and they don't make mistakes in the clubhouse, in the media, on the field.
Another strikeout for Neiman, his 7th. Well, let's move away for a moment from the all-time Yankee records, and how about where Derek Jeter ranks among all-time shortstops? Only Honus Wagner has more hits, or excuse me, a higher batting average as a shortstop than Derek Jeter. Jeter's already got the record, broke Luis Aparicio's record for most hits by a shortstop. As Eric Hinsky to pinch hit as Jeter waits on deck. Eric Hinsky will pinch hit now for Jose Molina. First pitch swinging, high fly ball to left field. Crawford there, 2 down, and that'll bring Jeter up.
Batting for the Yankees, number 2, Derek Jeter. Number 2.
Standing and applauding here at Yankee Stadium. A 3-hit night now for Jeter as he moves into a tie with Lou Gehrig for the franchise's all-time hit list, 2,721. And proud mom looking on here, dad right beside her here at Yankee Stadium. Never in doubt. 0 for 12 the last 3 nights, but mom and dad got what they came to see. A 3-hit night tonight for Jeter. He's the only guy in the ballpark right now who's thinking about what the score in this particular game is as opposed to the record he just tied. The tying run is at the plate, and Johnny Damon.
Tell you what, Jeff Neiman did a terrific job right there, just stepping off and letting Derek Jeter have his moment. Jeter, vintage Derek Jeter right there, going the other way, letting the ball get deep in the zone. It's his swing.
Aggressive first pitch fastball hitter his whole life. First pitch fastball here, he slices it to right field.
Wonder what that feels like, you know, to be him and to have the adoration of New York City.
gave me goosebumps to watch him get the hit and to see the reaction, see his mom and dad. And it's somebody you root for. That's the great thing. As great as the accomplishment is of the hits, is as great as the accomplishment is of the way he has handled it his whole life as a Yankee.
Mom appears to be a little bit more pumped up about it than Derek is. She hasn't sat down yet. But you're right. He's always carried himself the right way. He's represented his organization the right way. He's always been much more about team than individual.
Well, to be a star in New York City is very difficult because everywhere you go there are eyes on you, and he is never ever a problem. And at some point there will be a big number 2 with pinstripes among the retired numbers at Yankee Stadium.
They don't hand out the single-digit numbers very easily here. There aren't many of them left. So when Derek Jeter was given number 2, somebody had a feeling that one day, maybe, just maybe, he might wind up out there.
When they went over him going to Michigan or Michigan State, a scout spoke up in the meeting and said, no, he's going to Cooperstown. Some people at that age thought he was that good.
Jeter goes, and Damon bounces one through the right side. Jeter on his way to third. One more look. After Derek Jeter got to first base, accepted the congratulations from Chris Richard, and then had to take his helmet off and acknowledge the fans not once but twice. And that's about as high a compliment as you can get paid, right, Earl?
The opposing team stops, and your own team and his manager.
Derek's contract due to expire after the 2010 season. So the Yankees have some decisions to make, not about whether they're going to keep him here, but when do you start negotiations? Because after this season, it's not the best negotiating position for the Yankee front office with the year that Derek's put up. But I think it has to be a foregone conclusion that he remains in pinstripes.
Here's Teixeira. Jeter at third, Damon at first, 2 down. Jeff Neiman got a visit prior to the Teixeira at bat. He has handled Teixeira tonight. A strikeout and a couple of groundouts, although one of the groundouts was hit really hard, but out into shallow right into the teeth of the shift where Zobrist is. And he's trying to mount a rally here in the 7th inning against Neiman. 0-2. The Yankees tonight are 0 for.
This kid is a good. I mean,
he really is.
I mean, you know, you're in a jam, and so all of a sudden you go soft with everything, and he has a real idea about how to pitch.
As you saw activity now beginning in the Tampa Bay pen. Neiman is over 100 pitches. Bounces one in. Alex Rodriguez on deck should the inning continue. From a Yankees perspective, it has been Jeter's night. Maybe about 12 years from now, we'll be talking about Evan Longoria and him reaching some kind of an incredible milestone. And his 2 stars, one older, one younger, have a conversation around third base.
One of the first pitches tonight that Jeff Neiman's throwing where the hitter didn't have to make a decision. It came out of his hand, the ball. Now the count draws even at 2-2. Or where does he go here? He's throwing him soft and he's come back hard.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw the curveball out of that high fastball window, kind of backdoor breaking ball low. Looks like it's going to be a high fastball.
Curveball stays high and a full count on Teixeira.
Just overthrew it a little bit, so it spun out the top of his hand and didn't break. He's reaching down. He knows this is close to his last hitter.
Locked him up on a 3-2 curveball the first time up.
Damon will be going from first. 3-2 pitch. Got him with a changeup. Strikeout number 8 for Neiman, and no bigger out recorded tonight by Neiman than that one right there. They strand a couple, including Jeter at third after his record tying hit. Jeter and Garrett now share the record for most base hits in Yankee history.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball is presented by Smirnoff Ice. Please drink responsibly. And in part by the Ford F-150. It's not just a pickup truck, it's a Ford F-150. And Wrangler, makers of Wrangler 5-star premium denim jeans. Built comfortable, priced right.
A historic night for Derek Jeter. 3 hits tonight, moving into a tie with Lou Gehrig. 2,721 hits. And could bat again, as he has tied Gehrig for the all-time Yankee hit record. Meanwhile, top of the 8th inning, the Rays 2, the Yankees nothing. New catcher for the Yankees, Francisco Cervelli, after Jose Molina was lifted for a pinch hitter. Second inning out of the pen for Jonathan Albaladejo. First at bat of the night for Fernando Perez. Center field, Gardner, one down, as we check in with Kevin Connors back in the studio.
Well, Dan, if Derek Jeter is the fan favorite in the Bronx and Queens, it had been Melanie Oudin. The magical ride came to an end tonight, however, against Caroline Wozniacki, 6-2, 6-2. Oudin was the youngest American into the quarterfinals since Serena Williams in 1999, but that ride comes to an end tonight. Meantime, next on Wednesday Night Baseball, Manny Ramirez and the Dodgers take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Dan?
All right, Kevin, thank you. And here, 2-0, the Rays over the Yankees, top of the 8th. The Dodgers have to keep an eye on the Colorado Rockies beginning play tonight. Colorado just 3.5 back of the Dodgers. Jason Bartlett, the batter, he had a home run to lead off the game, his 14th of the season. The Rays got 2 in the first. Nobody has scored since.
Dan, how about the first 5 Tampa Bay hitters in this game? 3 for 4 with a walk. Since then, 0 for 21 with a walk mixed in there as well. So only 1 base runner since, but 0 for 21.
What Joe Madden told us about the offense not giving the pitchers enough room and the defense enough room, that their offense at times they play these tight games and they should be more blowouts or more one-sided.
And they should all thank Jeff Neiman, because he's gotten some very big outs tonight. The Yankees are 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position and have left 9 men on base.
Joe Madden talks so much about Jeff Neiman's poise, and we've seen it tonight here with Derek Jeter tying Lou Gehrig's record, being able to step off the mound, regroup, and get out of that jam. And we've seen him pitch with his back against the wall, with Alex Rodriguez up with men in scoring position, trusting his fastball. We've seen him leave other hitters at the plate with men in scoring position as he continues to make pitch after pitch, and really frustrate these Yankees with the selection of pitches that he's been able to go to.
Bartlett with a little roller back toward the mound. Low throw by Albaladejo, but Teixeira sticks with it for out number 2.
Well, the Yankee bullpen, I think, is a significantly underrated part of their club and component of their team. Their bullpen has really rounded itself out throughout the course of the season. Joe Girardi, I think, deserves a lot of credit for putting pitchers in situations to succeed and building their confidence as they go along.
Ryan Bruni was up in the pen at the beginning of the season. It was thought Bruni would have a larger role than he's had. He was out for a while, and other pitchers like Aceves, like Hughes, since he's went to the pen, have kind of moved past him into more important roles.
Well, Phil Koch, a young left-hander, has emerged and done a terrific job. And now they have Damaso Marte back off the disabled list, so they have that second left-hander in the bullpen that allows him to work matchups now.
If you're a Yankee fan, what is your biggest concern about this team heading into the playoffs? They've got the best record in baseball. What is the biggest problem they could face?
Starting pitching. CC Sabathia does not have a very good track record in October. AJ Burnett has terrific stuff, can throw a gem, but also can deliver a clunker. And Andy Pettitte is aged. I mean, he's up there a little bit. And if Java pitches, we saw Java today, you have to have questions about that. They could all be great. They could all, listen, CC Sabathia can go out there, dial one up and lock them in, and Burnett can have great stuff and mow down a very good lineup. But the predictability just isn't there. That's the biggest question for me.
And a lot of their offense based on the long ball, and you face a higher quality pitchers, higher quality bullpens in the playoffs. You're going to play tighter games where the home run's not going to be as big a part of the equation. A little more of the small ball like the Angels play. More of that National League style ball where they rely more on the scratch hits, the walks, the stolen bases, the good defense.
If the playoffs were to begin today, the Yankees would play the Tigers in the first round of the division series. The Red Sox would play the Angels. There are your top three starters right there. Sabathia, Burnett, and Pettit. 2-2 the count on Carl Crawford with 2 outs here in the Tampa Bay 8th. And now a full count.
Well, Detroit Tigers Justin Verlander in 2 starts this year, a 1-1 record with a 1.29 ERA against the New York Yankees. Edwin Jackson, who might get 2 starts, 0-1 with a 1.38 earned run average, holding him to 196 batting average. So you know you're talking about 2 power arms in Verlander and Edwin Jackson. That could be a very tough matchup for this Yankee lineup.
Line to short, Jeter there, and the inning is over. The Rays going over again at the bottom of the 8th here in the Bronx. The Yankees coming up, still trailing 2-0. Welcome back to Wednesday Night Baseball, presented by Smirnoff Ice. Bottom of the 8th inning here in the Bronx. Game the Rays with a cut is it, but the Yankees have the best offense in all of baseball. 44 comeback wins, 13 walk-off wins, including one last night. And Alex Rodriguez will get the bottom of the 8th started with a base hit. So Jeff Neiman did come out to work the 8th inning. First pitch got the fastball up, and the leadoff man is aboard.
He's been outstanding with the fastball all night. The mistake right there at Alex's first pitch, but the secondary stuff's been there also. 3 curveballs right here. Sharp breaks, even with bad location, they have depth. Then the changeup. He goes soft with men on base, especially to Mark Teixeira last inning with first and third 2 out. A 3-2 combio that gets him. That's a very well-developed young man and pitcher that shows poise against a very potent Yankee offense.
Terrific night thus far for Neiman. He gets a visit from Deanna Navarro. Joe Madden considering his options. He's got a right-hander Lance Cormier and left-hander Brian Schaus up in the pen right now. And again, the bullpen for the Rays, I don't think this is overstating it over the last week. It's been a disaster. The bullpen for the Rays has been a huge trouble spot in recent days. Various relievers giving up key hits late in games, 9th innings, last at bat losses. And Jeff Neiman, having thrown 110 pitches, is being approached by his manager right now. And it's all over for Neiman. A great job by the rookie. Has a shot at win number 13 if the beleaguered Tampa Bay pen can get the final 6 outs. Jeff Neiman doing his job tonight. 7 innings plus a batter. Alex Rodriguez at first, his responsibility. 8 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts for Neiman, looking for win number 13. Has to sit and watch the bullpen try to get the final 6 outs. A bullpen that has been lit up in recent days. It's a mix and match pen. That's the way that Joe Madden has operated all season long. He didn't bring in the lefty Schaus, whom he had up to face Hideki Matsui. He brought in right-hander Lance Cormier for the 46th time this year. Cormier is one of the guys in recent days who gave up a critical hit late in a game that led to the Rays losing a game. Neiman looking pretty relaxed as he looks on from the third base dugout. Cormier to face Matsui. 1 for 3. Numbers out of the Rays pen, and even worse over the last week. Just game after game in this 7-game losing streak. It has been the bullpen that has given up the winning run. Fair ball. Rodriguez on his way to third on a long single by Matsui.
It'll be interesting interesting to hear Joe Maddon's explanation, because Matsui against Cormier coming into that at bat was 2 for 4 with a home run. Now he's 3 for 5 as Madden goes out just to argue fair or foul. Brian Schaus, the left-hander who's up in the pen. Matsui 2 for 14 in his career against him. So the left-hander by far better numbers against Matsui, but Madden opted to go for the right-hander Cormier.
Madden gets the explanation from Tim Welke at first as you get another look at the Matsui hit.
Well, up and away, you got the barrel kind of wrapped around this and hooked it down the line. So Madden arguing whether that ball's fair or foul. It's close.
Jerry Hairston has come out to run now for Hideki Matsui after that hit. Hairston representing the potential tying run. 2 on, nobody out in the bottom of the 8th as the Yankees threaten yet again. And the batter was last night's hitting hero for the Yankees, Nick Swisher. Swisher hit 2 home runs in last night's game, including a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th. Ground ball to first. High throw into left field. Chris Richard throws it away.
A little indecision right there. He's not sure, do I come home, with the runner Alex Rodriguez coming home to break up the double play, forcing the ball to go to home to stop the double play. Oh no, he double clutches and gets his feet out of whack with his arm timing. Just a little hesitation seeing Alex break from third, and then throws it, kind of comes underneath it with his elbow and launches it into left field. Watch the hesitation here, seeing Alex Rodriguez then having the runner his way, not picking up his target, and just throws it into left field.
Give Swisher an RBI, charge Richard with an error. He's only in there because of the injury to Carlos Pena. The night is done for Lance Cormier. Joe Maddon going to the pen again. The Yankees are within a run.
Connors here with your Sports Center right now. Back and forth affair at Fenway Park. Orioles leading 4-3 in the 6th inning, but Dustin Pedroia's grounder off the foot of Matt Albers allowed Joey Gathright to score. Now the Rangers won earlier today, so currently Boston's wild card lead is 1.5. Up next, second most lethal home run hitter in baseball. Only Albert Pujols has more home runs than Mark Reynolds. He'll take his cut against the Dodgers next, Dan.
And here in the Bronx, Kevin, the Yankees have scored a run in the bottom of the 8th. An error by Chris Richard contributing to it. A base hit for Alex Rodriguez, Hideki Matsui with a single, and then Richard a little indecision on what he should do on this play.
Well, that's right, indecision. But look at Jerry Hairston, the base runner. He gets himself into the baseline. I think when Richard looked home and then looked back to second base, he saw Hairston's back in the line of where his throw was. He tried to go high. The ball sailed on him, got away. So good base running by Hairston, who went into pitch run for Hideki Matsui.
A run in, first and third, nobody out. Robinson Cano facing lefty Brian Schaus, who has come on for Tampa Bay.
Situational lefty. I had him down in Texas. Has been very effective up until this year. Rough year for Brian. You see opponent's batting average at .304. Just has not had the location on his pitches this year that he has had in the past.
A ball and a strike on Cano. You've been in this situation a few times. You've pitched well, you're out of the game, and all you can do is sit and watch.
You are pulling real hard for a special night from your bullpen, and now especially Brian Schaus. You work so hard for victories. Joe Maddon told us before the game that Neiman could easily have 15 or 16 wins. He has 12. But when you leave him ahead 2-0 here and have done a great job against the Yankees, you expect to come away with a W. The difference between big years and special years.
In this 7-game losing streak that the Rays are currently in, their bullpen has pitched 16 1/3 innings and given up 18 runs on 30 hits, and the bullpen has suffered 5 of the losses. in the 7 games. Every game, or 5 of the 7 at least, have been close, tied, small leads, right down to the 8th or 9th inning, and the Rays just keep on losing all those close games that they won last year. Their bullpen was so good last year. Their defense was so good. They'd find a way, stay close, come up with the clutch hit. Instead of finding ways to win close games this year, they're finding ways to lose them. Schaus gets Cano for the first out.
Well, that's a big out right there to get a strikeout without letting him put the ball in play. Now a double play can get you out of the inning. The big sweep and slider, Earl.
Well, fastball's in, the hole at bat until right there, and that is a very hard pitch to hit after you've been pounded inside.
And now Brett Gardner's been called back, and Jorge Posada is going to hit.
Pretty good guy to bring off the bench right there. Just have him waiting, and he's having a special year as well for an older catcher, putting up some big time numbers.
Joe Girardi with 3 catchers at his disposal. Posada not starting. Cervelli's already come on for Molina after he left for a pinch hitter. The Yankees still don't have a hit tonight with a runner in scoring position. The run scored on the fielder's choice and then the air, technically on the fielder's choice. Here comes Posada to pinch hit. Hairston with good speed is at third. He's the tying runner. Now Joe Maddon's going to make a counter move. Does not want Schaus to face Posada. Grant Balfour up in the pen. Another pitching change, another break here in the Bronx. This week on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, a part of the hunt for October. It's the Mets and the Phillies doing battle at 8 o'clock Eastern Time from Philadelphia. John Mayne's scheduled to come off the DL and start that game for the Mets. The Phillies looking to turn things around and stay on top of the National League East. Here in the bottom of the 8th in the Bronx, the Yankees have scored once. It is now 2-1. They've got runners at first and third with 1 out as the Rays go to the pen again for hard-throwing right-hander Grant Balfour after Joe Girardi brought Jorge Posada into the game to pinch hit.
Hard-throwing righty who has been exceptional. You remember him through the playoff run in the World Series. We talk about the World Series hangover, maybe some of it here with all the innings and work that he had last year. One of the hardest things for a general manager is to find out which arm is going to be hot 2 years in a row out of the bullpen.
Hairston at third. Swisher at first. Posada the batter, 3 for 3, as you can see, lifetime against Balfour. And Posada having another very good offensive season. Jeff Neiman still looking on as the first pitch is fouled back.
Jorge Posada trying to do something the first time in the history of the game for a catcher 37 or older. A batting average above 275, an on-base percentage above 350, and a slugging percentage above 500. All of his are above those 3 marks.
The old guard here for the Yankees, along with Jeter, Rivera. And although he left and came back, Andy Pettit in that group as well. Part of the core that won the World Series here in 96, 98, 99, and 2000.
Posada grounded into 12 double plays this year. And Balfour wanted to keep that ball down, get him the top one into the ground.
Meanwhile, Jeter, who's already got 3 hits tonight to tie Lou Gehrig, just a couple of spots away. Melky Cabrera's come out on deck for Cervelli. Posada's going to stay in the game of the catch. So Posada the batter, Cabrera on deck, and then if it gets that far this inning, it would be Jeter.
Balfour, that high fastball isn't going to get a ground ball out on that one. You're going to try to get a double play there. He's looking for a swing and a miss or a pop-up.
If he goes breaking ball, he's going to throw it in the dirt and look for the ground ball double play or strikeout. If he goes fastball and decides to go up, he's looking for a pop-up or a strikeout.
Joe Maddon's already used 4 different pitchers this inning, including his starter Neiman, who gave up a base hit to begin the inning. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Error figuring into the inning by Chris Richard, the first baseman, a potential double play ball. Should have gotten at least one. He threw it away into left field.
Talked about where they are this year as far as the Rays. A little lack of defense, a little offense that doesn't really push the opposing team away once they get the lead. Starting pitching has been exceptional. Just haven't gotten the support from the other facets of the game and the team to really put them over the top. And this has kind of been a microcosm of their season.
And maybe a microcosm of the Yankees season. Do they have another comeback win in store for their fans tonight? Started the season 15-17. That sure seems like a long time ago. The Yankees are now 90-50. Easily the best record in baseball. Deep right field. It is gone.
The older a hitter gets, the slower his bat's supposed to get. You're not supposed to be able to catch up to the inside fastball, and especially not the high and inside fastball. At 37 years or older, Jorge Posada just connected on one of the better fastballs coming out of a bullpen, and he pulled it and pulled it hard.
A pinch hit, 3-run home run for Jorge Posada. The Yankees have their first lead of the night. Now Melky Cabrera, shallow left center field. Look out. And now
there's the inside fastball to Posada. He clears his hands, keeps him inside the ball, and just drives it out of the ballpark. And he knew it when he hit it. Yankees lead. Boy, got all of that one, and line drive out of the yard. And this crowd excited, juiced up for this, but now Derek Jeter looking for the record.
Jeter's best buddy, Jorge Posada, hitting the big home run. Jeter with 3 hits tonight. His dad, Charles, looking on as Jeter has already tied Lou Gehrig's record for most hits ever by a Yankee. A bunt single in the first. He grounded out in the third. A ground rule double in the fifth. And a single to right in the seventh. Lots of oohing and eyeing. Lots of flashes. Flash bulbs going off around the ballpark. Two balls and a strike. The Yankees with 4 runs here in the bottom of the 8th. But now all eyes, all the thoughts of Yankee fans on Derek Jeter. We've seen him hit a few balls that way in his career, including one earlier tonight, but that one was fouled. It's 2-2.
We called it all. That's some kind of fastball. If Grant Belfour runs up there, Jeter, a good fastball hitter. You can see him that approach of trying to go to right field with it. One thing that helps is Belfour's not been able to command his breaking ball at all tonight.
There, and the count is now full. So if you're Jeter, you're just sitting on a fastball 3-2, right?
I think you have to, don't you?
I think he looks heater and he fights off the slider. Came into the game in a mini slump, 0 for 12, 3 hits tonight. And what some would say a slump-proof swing.
Fighting off a pretty tough pitch right there. Knee-high fastball, mid-90s.
Tell you what, if you get a Derek Jeter souvenir foul ball on a night like this, something special.
The at-bat continues. 3-2 on Jeter. Ball 4. Balfour, the most unpopular guy in the Bronx right now.
And Derek Jeter, one of the most unselfish. He could have very easily taken the bat off his shoulder and swung at anything. This game now in the Yankee hands of Mariano Rivera has been so perfect this year. Derek Jeter said, nope, another day. We'll play the game properly.
And another pitching change for Tampa Bay. We're about to see the 5th different pitcher employed by Joe Madden here in what has been a disastrous bottom of the 8th for the Rays.
Tempers the football. Every team, every exciting is live inside NFL Red Zone. Football on Dish Network. Call now.
Take a look at your favorite shows on Dish Network and DirecTV. Are nature shows any more natural on DirecTV just because you pay more for them? Dish Network gives you the same shows with the same reliability for less. Dish Network.
His 4th career hit run. A fastball hit it into the seats in the right. And the Yankees have scored 4 times here in the bottom of the 8th to lead 4-2. So Posada trying to share the spotlight here tonight with Derek Jeter. Johnny Damon is the batter now, and the first pitch from Randy Cho right to the backstop. Jeter up to second. Jeter aboard via a walk, if you weren't with us a few moments ago. So he's still 3 for 4 tonight, tied with Lou Gehrig. What a disaster this inning has been for Tampa Bay.
It looked like Deanna Navarro got crossed up on that one. And Fielding Colbreth, the home plate umpire, that took a piece out of him. Is that like Navarro was looking for a breaking ball and choked through a fastball and tailed away. And Fielding Colbreth went out there and said, "Hey guys, did I do something wrong here? Protect me."
You saw Dan Wheeler now throwing in the Tampa Bay pen. Neiman, the starter, was still in the game. That's him right there. He was still in the game when this half inning began. Gave up a hit to Alex Rodriguez, a single, and that was it for him. Lance Cormier faced 2 batters. Didn't get an out. His job, struck out his only. And Balfour gave up, among other things, the home run to Posada. Now Randy Choate is in. Grounder to first. Richard has this one. And the inning is over, but not before Jorge Posada hits a 3-run homer, and the Yankees take their first lead of the night, and they will take it into the 9th inning here in the Bronx. Pinch hit, 3-run shot for Posada. 4-2 Yankees going to the 9th. No team has done more damage late in games than the New York Yankees. This would not be a walk-off win, obviously, but it would be a comeback win and a last-at-bat win if they can get the job done here in the top of the 9th. And you've got that guy to thank if you're a Yankee fan. Jorge Posada with a pinch hit 3-run homer. 4-2 Yankees going to the 9th. Brian Bruni is in to try and close it for the Yankees. Mariano Rivera pitched last night, also pitched Monday, and is coming back from a slight groin issue last week. So Joe Girardi evidently being a little bit careful with Rivera. Melky Cabrera stays in the game in center field. So it will be Bruni trying to close it out facing Evan Longoria to begin the 9th inning. On the appeal, he didn't go, and immediately Bruni has fallen to behind 3 balls and no strikes.
Bruni missed 85 team games with a right foot injury, but since coming back in 23 relief appearances, a 1.96, 2-0. So he has been outstanding in his return.
You have to wonder where Phil Hughes is, who's been so good for the Yankees, but he's pitched 3 of the last 4 games, so trying to give him some time off as well.
Lefty Phil Koch is up in the pen right now. And a 4-pitch walk to the leadoff man in the 9th, just like that, is going to bring the tying run to the plate. One story that shouldn't get lost amidst all the Posada home run and the Neiman performance and the Jeter hits. Alfredo Aceves and Jonathan Albaladejo, 5 hitless innings out of the Yankee pen.
Terrific effort by both those guys. Aceves, we'll talk about his 10 wins and what a great middle reliever he's been for this Yankee team. And Albaladejo, a call up. The roster's expanded, picking up some important innings for the Yankees.
Here's the cleanup hitter for Tampa Bay, Ben Zobrist, 23 home runs on the season. First pitch swinging, drilled to deep center. Cabrera twisting and turning and making the catch 400 feet away. Wind might have kept that one in the ballpark tonight.
Zobrist has really developed some power this year. 23 home runs, and he got into that one. The hip turn, a full hip turn, one of the things he's really added. Not such a handsy hitter anymore, really using the lower half of his body to drive it this year. And he's seen his production and power go up. That wind probably held that ball up. He crushed it.
Pat Burrell is the batter, and Bruni falls behind.
I think any other night here, that ball's out of the ballpark with the wind pounding in from straightaway left field, center field area.
The Rays with 2 in the first, the Yankees with 4 in the 8th. And a fly ball off the bat of Burrell. Swisher and right. 2 down.
We talked about the Rays' first 5 hitters, 3 for 4 with a walk. Since then, 0 for 25 with 2 walks.
And Joe Girardi's going to make a pitching change. He's going to match up here in the 9th inning. He had the left-hander Koch up, and left-hand hitting Chris Richard is the scheduled hitter. So Bruni will not be given an opportunity to get the last out. Koch is on his way in. Runner at first, 2 down, 4-2 Yankees here in the top of the 9th. Teixeira playing behind the runner. And it's fouled straight back on the first pitch. A lot of the crowd thinned out here at Yankee Stadium after the last plate appearance by Derek Jeter. He walked. So at this point, 3 for 4, done for the night unless this game goes any further. But 3 for 4, having tied Lou Gehrig's hit record. Down the right field line, long run Swisher, and foul ball. The count is now 0-2 on Kapler. Big night for Jeter after going 0 for 12 in his last 3 games. 3 hits tonight. Big night for Posada, the pinch hit home run off Balfour in the bottom of the 8th.
241st 3+ hit game of Derek Jeter's career, the most of any active player.
And if he doesn't get up here again tonight, his next opportunity will be Friday night here in New York against Baltimore. To the count on Kapler. Runner goes, and the pitch is down and in. Longoria takes second on defensive indifference. Pope wants to talk to Posada. Another pinch hitter has come out in the on-deck circle. Willie Ibar, who would bat for Gabe Gross if Kapler can reach.
And what a shame for Jeff Neiman. A terrific effort on his part in the start for the Tampa Bay Rays. And certainly his performance tonight and over the course of the season bode well for the future of the Rays organization.
The Rays offense only gets 3 hits tonight, commits 2 errors on defense. They really did not support their starting pitcher at all, but he almost eked it out.
All 3 hits for Tampa Bay back in the first inning when they scored both their runs. The 1-2. Slider in the dirt, scoots to the backstop over Posada, bounces past him, and now Longoria takes third on the wild pitch. If Tampa Bay loses, it would be their 8th consecutive loss, including a 4-game sweep here in New York. They have scored only 6 runs in the 4 games.
Their bullpen would take their 6th loss of those 8 losses.
3 of them, or 3 of the blown saves by Balfour, 2 of the losses. Balfour's the guy who gave up the home run to Posada in the bottom of the 8th. Now the 2-2, and it's over. Cope gets the save. Jeter gets 3 hits. Ties Lou Gehrig. Posada with a pinch hit home run, and the Yankees win again to go 41 games over 500. The final from the Bronx, the Yankees 4 and the Rays 2. Coming up next here on ESPN, it's the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Steve Phillips, Oral Hershiser, and our entire crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying so long. And thanks for watching as we send you to Phoenix. It's the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, Dave O'Brien and Rich Sutcliffe.